Hello, everybody. Pop culture curator here. So good to see you all. It is Monday evening where we are in our neck of the woods. So, which means we are back for another episode of the classic series Lost in Space. I know we missed a couple weeks there because of the Christmas and New Year's holiday, but we are back in full force, and we have a new episode tonight that we're going to be covering the Ghost Planet. I know the last episode I wanted a little bit of I'm gonna. I don't usually do this, so this is gonna be unusual. But I'm gonna talk a little bit about the prior episode that we streamed, Wild Adventure. If you guys remember, that was the
Oh,
one where
oh yeah,
the green lady, yeah, the green lady floating outside the Jupiter 2.
that one's hard to forget, Pop. I remember that one for sure. Yeah, that's like
Yeah,
3 weeks ago, maybe now. Gosh, it's been a while.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. Yeah, I was like
Feels like
2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me pull it up now. I'm going to be reading about it here.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, and I heard a pop. I guess is somebody ready to come in? There she is. Oops. Oh, there we go. We're playing tug of war again.
We're
Sorry
fighting
about
over
that.
you, Jill. We're fighting over you.
That was a brief appearance.
Yeah, we get so excited. We're both trying to bring her in at the same time. I apologize, Joe.
Gosh.
That's okay. The same thing happens to me and when on my channel, so it's pretty fun.
Jill, have you figured out the part where it won't let you? 'Cause I think I heard you. Somebody was telling me that during one of your streams last week you had trouble.
Pinning
Yes.
messages. Yeah, it won't let me pin my own messages. So I've got to get.
When that happens, refresh your screen and it'll fix it.
Really? Okay. I tried. I thought I tried that, but I'll try
It was
again.
doing that to me, and then Gorilla said refresh, and then now it works. So hopefully that'll work for you. Refresh
All
the
right.
YouTube.
I hope it
stream.
works. We'll see.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
I was, anytime, man, Jill. I was just saying before you got here, I have a few notes regarding the last episode we streamed, Wild Adventure, with the lady floating outside the Jupiter 2. But I wanted to first say hello to everybody in the chat. Welcome, everybody. It is so good to see you. But first, of course, I have to say hello to my esteemed fellow panelist, Gorilla, from Gorilla's Random Thoughts. How are you doing?
I'm doing better than I was last week here. Now I'm trying to decide if I want to go shovel tonight or tomorrow morning.
That's a fun choice, eh?
Yeah, well, work doesn't cancel, so.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, Gorilla. And how are you doing, PvP?
Doing okay. Can't complain. Nothing
All
too
right,
exciting going on. Just another day at working away, but nice to be here. Finally back, getting into another episode of Lost in Space because, I kind of missed some of this stuff during the holiday season. Even though, I mean, it was of course good to take a break and enjoy the Christmas and New Year's, but kind of nice to get back into a regular routine now that the new year is well underway. So yeah.
Absolutely, yes. And I'm excited to continue with Lost in Space. I miss doing the streams about it because it's one of my favorite shows. Jill, how are you doing tonight?
Wonderful. Yes, I did have a lot of fun with my family and stuff over the holidays, but I'm ready to talk about fun stuff here too now.
All right. So I'm guessing that all of you have seen tonight's episode, right?
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Let me say hello to the chat. First of all, Suzanne Eckstein was the first one here. Hello, Suzanne. She says, I'm here, Pops.
Hi,
And
Suzanne.
I appreciate Suzanne. You were here early, so thank you for that. And she also says hello, Gorilla, and hello, PvP.
And hey there, Suzanne.
Yeah, it's really great. It looks like we're going to have a good turnout tonight. Stone Racket. Hello, Stone Racket. How's a come day called this? Wait, I've got a. How's a come day called?
I got it. How come they call this episode the Ghost Planet when there aren't any ghosts?
That is kind of funny, isn't it? They should have called it the Robot Planet.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too when I was watching. It's like, well, that's not a very accurate title.
They should have called it Where Little Girls Come From.
Well, and I will bring that up because I thought about also about watching while watching this episode, and I have a few comments. It's probably more like excuses, so they may not be valid. So if they're not, just let me know.
Oh, excuses come out of a place of love, so I'd like to hear that.
Okay. And Stone Racket says, Pop Culture Curator, good evening. Good evening to you too, Stone Racket. It's so good to see you all. Suzanne says,
Yeah.
Nice Stone
Stone
Rocket.
Racket, hello.
Hey,
And
Stone Racket.
yeah, Suzanne says, hello there. Read that. Hello there. And hello, Jill, she says.
Hello,
And
Susan.
Stone Racket. Oh, the pain, the pain. My back is feeling rather delicate today. But my dinner tonight made things a little better, pleasant under glass,
Yeah,
followed by
not
great
pleasant. Not pleasant.
dessert. Right. But that's a great phrase. That's from Jonathan Harris's Dr. Smith.
Yes.
And personally, I've never had pheasant under glass. I'm guessing, is that actually a bird that's under glass? I don't know.
It's probably a
Well,
pheasant. I
pheasant
guess.
is a bird, so I'm guessing it's a special way to make it.
That's pretty fancy though. Under glass. Wow, that's pretty fancy cuisine.
Well, you
Well,
gotta keep the cats out of it. Gotta keep the cats out.
Oh, yeah. Well, I want some asparagus with the hollandaise sauce.
Yes, that does sound better than what Dr. Smith recommended. I think he said caviar and pâté de foie gras or something like that. No, I'll take the asparagus.
And the baked potatoes.
Oh yeah, baked potatoes. Good.
When I was in high school, somebody gave me a can of caviar. I thought, wow, that's that expensive, fancy stuff that rich people eat. I took it home. It stunk so bad, nobody wanted to even get close to it. I gave it to the cat. The cat just took off, did not eat any, and disappeared for 2 days. So, yeah, I don't understand the whole appeal of caviar.
Yeah, they make it so salty. The only time I like the fish eggs are when it's from a sushi restaurant.
Or you've tried it.
Yeah, the masago and the salmon eggs, those are really good. But if I buy caviar, I guess I just don't get any good stuff because it's like you say, not good.
They do
I
seem
can
to,
afford caviar.
yeah, it does seem to be salty from what I've heard. I've never actually tried the stuff, but yeah.
I don't mind the salty flavor. It was the smell that drove us away.
Yeah, that's weird.
And it was out of
But
a
it is.
can, so it
Oh,
had to
it
be
is
fresh.
fish. I guess it is fishy. I guess though, so it's going to smell.
It was like a super concentrated fish smell. You know how some things smell more than others when it comes to fish, and it was like really strong.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, I love fish. So
okay, so I know we're gonna have more people coming in, and I want this that already you good. I did mark this chat for now, and we will be cutting up on the chat, everybody. But I want to squeeze in. I have a few notes about last episode, the last Lost in Space episode we covered. Wild Adventure. I have to keep remembering the name. The green lady floating outside the Jupiter 2. You guys all remember that? Okay.
Oh yes, that's hard to forget.
All right. I wanted to mention that by the time this is notes about what happened after that show aired. So just to let you know, when that show aired, by the time it aired, Batman was already way down in the ratings and failing. So Batman started out really strong, but I'm serious, it was like a real all off the cliff. So even though a lot of shows really copied Batman, it did not last at all in the ratings. But the week that Wild Adventure premiered, Star Trek also was showing Where No Man Has Gone Before. And
Cool.
Star Trek came out in the Nielsen ratings at number 31. Lost in Space was at number 40 at the very last. With that episode of Wild Adventure. So the note says here, this is, by the way, of course, I'm reading from Lost in Space, the authorized biography of a classic sci-fi series, Volume 2 by Mark Cushman.
So some rough times for Lost in Space right now.
Rough times. Yeah, well, that's what they give for showing rough episodes, I guess. Irwin Allen was concerned that Star Trek had ranked higher than Lost in Space on Nielsen's top 40 list. He continued to track both the reviews and the ratings for Star Trek, which were kept in a file in his office. Star Trek's creator Gene Roddenberry had been taking pot shots at Alan and Lost in Space while interviewed by the press and promoting his own series. TV critics had been making comparisons between the two shows as well, with most stating that they liked Trek better. In Alan's mind, this was war. One night after Lost in Space's wild adventure peaked with a 19.1 rating and attracted a 31% of the audience share, Where No Man Has Gone Before, Star Trek's second pilot and third episode to air, peaked with a 20.0 Nielsen rating and a 33.3 audience share, winning its time slot for the third week in a row for NBC on Thursday night. Alan was livid. Rubbing salt into the wound, science fiction author and all-around science authority Isaac Asimov weighed in on the new television season, or at least its 3 outer space shows. Star Trek, It's About Time, which of course none of us are even, we're all like, huh? Yeah, there was actually another show on the air at the time. So Star Trek, It's About Time, and mostly Lost in Space. And yeah, can you believe it? Isaac Asimov used to watch Lost in Space, believe it or not. So in the November 26, 1966 issue of TV Guide, in the chapter What Are a Few Galaxies Among Friends? For his article, Wild Adventure was one of the episodes Asimov singled out for criticism. He wrote in part, "Sure enough, I thrilled to strange worlds and monsters and supermental powers and robots and time travel and, well, I also throb to just a few tiny errors scarcely worth mentioning. But then as long as I'm writing this article, like for instance, nobody seems to know what a galaxy is. In one episode of Lost in Space, our small family, which has been lost in space for a whole year, is making its way back to Earth when the comic villain Dr. Smith manages to get himself adrift in space. The ship maneuvers to rescue him, loses its chance to make the final course adjustment for Earth, and goes, quote, shooting out of the other side of the galaxy."
Yeah, that was my problem with that episode too.
Right. Well, then you're in company. Indeed, he says. Well, let's see. Our galaxy consists of 135 billion stars clustered loosely into the shape of a lens. From end to end across the lens is a distance of 100,000 light years, and each light year is equal to 5,800 billion miles. We are way out near one side of the lens, and the nearest flat edge is only 1,500 light years away. This means that if the spaceship were traveling at the fastest speed possible, 186,282 miles a second, that being the speed of light, it would take 1,500 years to reach that edge and go shooting out of the galaxy. If the ship were going at a reasonable speed, say 186 miles a second, it would take 1,500,000 years. So yeah.
Yeah, that was
So-
why I wish they would have said out of the solar system. Would have made a
Or
little
out of
more
the
sense.
sector, anything, right? Anything but galaxy.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. One of weaknesses I've always found with Lost in Space is they don't get the old science thing too correct. A lot of episodes, I gotta say.
Well, I would be if I was on the production team for Lost in Space, I would be embarrassed knowing that Isaac Asimov was watching it,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'd go out of my way to try to contact him and say any ideas, and we'll pay you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you think,
and he probably would take you up on that offer. He loves science fiction, obviously.
well,
Exactly. Yeah, he was
yeah.
a fan of watching these shows, obviously.
But you'd think they would have some kind of science advisor on a show like Lost in Space. Just to even give them some modest tips. When they're making a big error like that, right?
Oh,
Right.
why waste money on a science advisor
Right.
on a
Right.
science fiction show?
Little details like that, right? Who cares?
Well, I'm glad Star Trek got it more correct more of the time. I mean, they weren't 100% perfect, but they were pretty good. you know.
Yes. So, according to continue with what Irwin Allen said. So, to suppose that one false move instantly sends a spaceship out of the galaxy is about like supposing the kid on a tricycle pedaling down Main Street in Emporia, Kansas, and forgetting to make a turn at the end of the block instantly goes shooting off the edge of the North American continent. Another aspect of the episode irked Mr. Asimov, he continued, in which we talked about this. In Lost in Space, an unearthly green creature appears in outer space. She is exposed to complete vacuum with no helmet, but isn't bothered. Maybe she doesn't even have to breathe, but then why does she have a nose? What's more, she sings, and we can hear her right through the vacuum of space. Maybe it's all a matter of hypnotism, but the program doesn't say so. We see her breathing and singing.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
a
well,
good catch up for what
yeah.
we did last week.
Yeah, well,
Right.
I wondered. I mentioned, I think, in that stream, why does she have nostrils? Like, why does she have a nose if she doesn't need air? It's like it was kind of weird. Yeah.
Maybe like a frog. They've got gills when they go underwater, but then they have lungs when they're outside the water.
I don't know.
It's a
That's a-
vestigial nose.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Faulty science, such as the Wild Adventure script, made it difficult but not impossible for Asimov to enjoy watching Lost in Space. But he admitted that he preferred watching Star Trek. Alan could take some comfort. Now we're back to Irwin Allen. Alan could take some comfort in the returns for his other series, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and Time Tunnel. They were both doing better at the time. The Time Tunnel was still doing well in its Friday night slot, retaining its first place honors, which was competing against the Wild Wild West. Of course, now we're getting into other topics, which is not necessary. But I just wanted to mention that little letter from Isaac Asimov regarding the last episode. So I think we were kind of right in our review.
That's pretty cool, actually. Thanks for going back and telling us about that, because that's really cool to know that Isaac Asimov was watching those shows back in the day. Like, wow.
Can you imagine being in the same room with him as he's watching it? You're thinking, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe this."
I have a feeling Isaac might have watched Lost in Space at times as almost like a comedy show.
Well, considering
considering
it's Isaac Asimov, it makes sense that he's a fan of those shows, right? I mean,
yeah.
I can't see him watching I Dream of Jeannie, but I can see him watching Star Trek and Lost in Space.
Right.
Unfortunately, mentally, those shows aren't on his level. Unfortunately, it would be nice if they would have been, but
Who exactly was it? Isaac Asimov, though, exactly?
He's just one of the most famous science fiction writers of all time, Gorilla.
He wrote the laws for robotics.
Yeah, the 3 laws of robotics.
Right, and you heard of iRobot? Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I've heard about Robot.
Yeah, he wrote Martian Chronicles, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that was Ray Bradbury.
Oh, that's Bradbury. Okay, I get those guys mixed up all the time.
People get, I don't know why, Isaac Asimov, Ray Bradbury, and Arthur C. Clarke mixed up. I've heard that many times.
He also did the Bicentennial Man short story
Oh, cool.
novelette.
Right, in fact, you covered that movie, right, Gorilla?
He did.
Yeah,
Which one?
Or was
Oh,
that
we
you?
both did.
Or was
Yeah, it was
that you,
on
Jill?
Jill.
Who was it?
Jill did it on one of her Friday streams. I guess
Okay,
a month
gotcha.
or two back now, and that was really fun. That was a great stream.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it.
I loved it.
I
I
had a lot
really
of fun.
enjoyed watching that
Yeah.
movie.
Mhm.
I'd never seen it, so I was so happy that you recommended it, and I finally discovered what a good movie it is.
Right, and of course, the pinnacle of Isaac Asimov's career, and Scotty's favorite scene was the wormhole effect in the motion picture. Sorry.
And then there's
No
also
offense, Scotty.
Foundation.
Yes.
Oh no, wait. Actually, Bird of Prey 5 is the one who doesn't like the wormhole scene.
Oh, that's right. Was it Bird of Prey 5? That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Yeah, he really doesn't like it. He went out of his way to tell us in great detail of how much he disliked
Yes,
it.
that was really good.
So sorry, Scotty, for mistaking you, but and no offense, Bird of Prey, if you're out there. Okay, so tonight, I guess we can only get caught up on the chat really quick. Stone Racket says, "Good evening, Jill." And Stone Racket says, "My cat Harpo is here," and I like that name, by the way. Hopefully, it's from Harpo Marx and not Oprah. So my cat Harpo is here on my lap. He's a Lost in Space fan like me. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Hi, Harpo.
Lemon Pie says, "Hail, Pop. Hail, Lemon Pie. Good to see you. Hope you're staying warm."
My cat will sit on my lap while I'm watching Lost in Space and all that, but that's just because he's an attention whore.
What? How about that? How's that heat going? Is he out of it yet? Or she out of? How many cats do you have? Wait a minute.
2.
Or 2. Okay. How's the female doing? Is she out of season yet?
Oh, well, at least she shut up for now.
Oh.
Just remember to help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered.
That's what I said last time, but he said no.
I can't afford it.
Oh, sometimes your city will do it for free. You just have to pay attention to when that happens. They
But
they have
sometimes
events.
they
You
also
have
have
no idea
dis-
how small my city is, there, Jill.
well, they
We
also
don't have
have
that stuff.
they also have places that'll do discounts for low income.
Yeah, this is a very small area.
Yeah, but I'm saying maybe when you go to a big city, you go to the big city sometimes, right? Like when you go to Walmart or something.
Yeah, but then I'd have to figure out how to drink my cat there.
Well, never. It's not a big deal. Suzanne says, "Gotta go, pops. Have a great stream, fellas, and Jill. You too, Suzanne. I hope you're doing
Yes,
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Good
and have a
night,
great night. And thank you
Suzanne.
for stopping by, Suzanne." Stone Racket says, "Urban Allen, Galaxy or Solar System? I like Galaxy better. It sounds sexier." Well, yeah, it does, but it just doesn't make much sense. I think we all kind of noticed that as soon as they said that line in the last episode. We were like, "What?"
Well, also that episode was written by a couple of people who were kind of angry at Irwin Allen, and so
Yes, right.
they kind of might have made some mistakes on purpose.
They were trying to get the ratings lower, I'm guessing. Actually,
Well, they were
yeah.
right, and they were hoping to go work on Star Trek, but thankfully they didn't.
Thank goodness.
Taylor
But
Swift,
the
bigger than Disney,
attitude,
Star Wars,
yeah.
and MCU, says Swift didn't win any Golden Globe awards. I'm pissed, Swift. And hello,
Taylor,
Taylor Swift. Good to see you. I'm sorry you didn't win any Golden Globes. Ola Greg says hello, everyone.
Yeah,
Hello,
me
Ola
too.
Greg.
she already got Person of the Year. What more do you want?
Who did?
Taylor Swift.
Oh,
That was
Ola
our
Greg.
Person of the Year.
Golden Globes. Aren't those television and movies, or are they everything? I don't know.
They're kind of like the Academy Awards, I think, but just a different ceremony,
Yeah.
different
That's
award.
what I thought. So they're like TV and movies. They're not
Well,
music. Music is
Yeah.
Tony, isn't it? The
well,
Tonys? I
Taylor
don't know.
Swift would have been eligible for an Academy or not for whatever awards it was because she released technically released a movie, but basically what it was just a concert that they put to the theaters to get to sell tickets.
Huh.
No, I remember. Excuse me. I remember the movie Al, but I don't know why they would recognize her at an award show for it. But call me crazy. And
Yes,
Ola Greg, it is so good to see you there. I hope you're doing well.
All right.
Taylor says someone will answer for this. And Lemon Pie says howdy, Oiler. And Oiler says warning, warning, arms waving wildly. And Ola Greg says, hey, Lemon. And Ola Greg says, I used to read Asimov science fiction magazine back when. Yeah, he also had that book where it was like anthologies. I think a bunch of short stories. Lemon Pie, I used to read that, and Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock also had a book with a bunch of short stories with mysteries. Lemon Pie, hi everyone. Howdy, howdy, Lemon. Stone
Hello.
Racket says Harpo Marx cat. Meow, meow. Perfect, beautiful. I'm a fan of the Marx brothers. Ola Greg says cheers, and it looks like we got some. It looks delicious. It looks like some beer. I wish I had some. And Cody Guy's waving. Hello, Cody Guy. Good to see you as well.
Hello.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything you want to add before we start with tonight's episode?
No, not really.
Well,
I'm ready. I'm ready to dissect this episode.
I know it's kind of. I know we're already on the half hour, so I apologize for the delay, everybody. So tonight we're covering season 2, episode 3, "The Ghost Planet," which premiered Wednesday, September 28, 1966. And according to the description, it says Smith makes the Jupiter 2 land on a planet occupied by cyborgs. That's a fancy way of putting it, I guess. And I want to thank ahead of time too. Thank you, Jill, for the slides. I really do appreciate that.
Of course.
One of these days, I want to talk to you in the background about how I have a few questions, technical questions about how you do some things on your channel. I need to fine tune my channel so I can try to get monetized. So I think I need to start doing the watermarks as well. Maybe that might help. I'm not really sure what I need
Yeah.
to do to appease. YouTube they're not being very detailed on what's going on with my channel, but I'll do the best I can. I can't apply again for monetization until February.
Oh my gosh, that's not cool.
I don't know. I don't expect a lot. I don't want a lot of money. I'm hoping just enough just to pay for the cost of StreamYard. But that's how
Yeah,
things.
and that's what I'm getting. Like, yeah, that is nice to be able to get that. And
Well,
so, yeah.
the thing is fair, right? I mean, if other people like Jill are getting monetized, I mean, you put a lot of hard work into your channel, just like Jill, and Gorilla. Like you guys put a lot of hard work into your channels, and you should all deserve to be monetized. At a certain point, when you've racked up, the numbers, necessary, so to speak, right? So
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that they don't tell you exactly what is wrong when there's an issue.
that's
I had
crazy.
a
Yeah,
I had a
yeah.
friend that had the same problem, and he submitted his claim twice before he got it.
Huh. Wow.
He had to do 2 videos
That
to
is
Two
odd, though.
videos, and I've got to put one together, so that means I better look forward to two of them then.
It is odd though that some channels have such a tough time, like, and other ones just get monetized automatically. It seems so. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
because
have a lot of.
somehow YouTube detects that you're reusing content somehow, and they don't really explain what you're doing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
I thought it was the Star Trek bloopers, so I removed them
Would have
and
thought it
then
was that too.
yeah, I reapplied
yeah.
after that, and then they said the same thing, and I'm wondering if they even bothered going back to look at my channel again.
Well, that's it. It's like your channel and Jill's channel are very similar, and we talk about classic, science fiction, and you guys have very similar types of streams, discussing, an episode, and so I don't know what the difference is between your channel, Pop, and Jill's channel. It just baffles me, to be honest.
Right, and I thought it was fair to review stuff, isn't it? Am I wrong? I thought reviewing is something that's okay and fair
That's what you
use.
guys both do. You're always
It
doing
is, but
reviews.
don't you have that drama with the local news station or local
Every now and then with Gilligan's Island, yeah, they'll attack at one of my streams, but I haven't had it
network?
happen in a couple months, thank goodness.
That's good.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so here we are with the Jupiter 2 heading off into space after our last episode, Wild Adventure. So what we have here is Dr. Smith, of course, is up to his usual shenanigans, and he's planning on taking the Jupiter 2 and putting it off course back towards Earth. What he believes to be Earth, that is, which we all know is not. And we have the robot singing, and a reminder, everybody, that's Bob May's voice singing, not Dick Tufeld. So this is one of the rare instances you get to hear the man inside the robot
I'm
singing.
just wondering, was this the same scene that was in a previous episode? Because it sure seems familiar.
Yes, because this was at the in the end of the last episode for the
Oh,
cliffhanger.
that's where I'm remembering it from. Okay, I was
Yeah.
thinking I've seen this before. Okay, thanks, Jill.
Right. So apparently, Will Robinson is tuning up the robot. So that's why he's having him sing, but he's having
Uh,
trouble with some of his memory banks and he's having to clear them out. Apparently, I guess he has a maximum capacity of storage space. And Dr. Smith is not very happy. The robot, as we've seen the robot evolve more and more, the robot seems to be more, let's just say, saying smart remarks about Dr. Smith. And I think it's hilarious, the exchange between the two of them.
They love to trade insults, that's for sure.
It is. It's almost like a comedy duo.
Yeah, yeah.
His personality and self-awareness has grown exponentially in the past 10 or so episodes.
Which apparently to the disdain of Dr. Smith. So he tells Will Robinson to wipe out his memory banks and all that sentimental twaddle. And of course, then Will Robinson says, "No, I can't do that," because obviously he's part of the family, so they're not going to do that. So now we get a shot of well, it looks like a radar scope, but who knows what they call it on their show? I can't remember.
Hmm.
And here we get a planet with a strange female voice over the speaker saying Jupiter 2, Jupiter 2. And as we know, that is definitely not Alpha Control, which we saw in the last episode. But Dr. Smith doesn't care, and he's anxious, and he wants to head that direction. So we're going to come across, shall I say a planet or shall I say the planet? Because every time they show that planet, it's the same one. I mean, Star Trek. I don't like comparing the two, but Star Trek at least had different planets each week. But that planet right there that we're looking at is always seems to be the same one
Well,
in
why
all
spend
these
money
various
on different?
episodes.
Well, you think they could have just colored it just a little bit slightly different, you know?
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
probably
That's what
what
I
Star
say
Trek
too.
does.
It did. It did.
Yeah,
And
Star
by the
Trek
way,
was pretty good at changing the planets from episode to episode. Actually, it really was pretty good.
and something I want to mention the difference between this and Star Trek is obviously a lot of you might know this, but on Star Trek on the main view screen where like Sulu and Chekhov are sitting, whenever the camera shows the view of the view screen, you guys know that's all blue screen, right? So they're actually looking at a blue screen, and then in post production they're superimposing the view of the planet or the ship or whoever they're talking to over that blue screen. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And welcome, Jim.
Hello, Jim. Good to see you there. In Lost in Space, they actually had a large roller with a huge matte painting on it, and they would slowly roll that by to make it look like the ship was moving.
Really?
Yes. So that's why you do not get, like right now, the robot is directly in front of the screen. If that would have been a blue screen, you would have seen the slight line around the outline around the robot that would look like a blue outline.
Oh, right.
But the fact that it looks absolutely clear is because it was just one long painting, and they kind of waved it slowly left and right to make it look like the ship was in motion. So I just wanted to mention that. Different production standards.
That's probably why the planet always looked the same too, because they used the same painting over and over and over again.
That's exactly it, right? And well, and honestly, if you pay attention to detail, you can see that some of those stars are painted in, which is I'm okay with. So now they come across the radiation belt, and Will Robinson notices that, and they got to try to avoid it, but unfortunately, they're headed right to it. And we get one of our famous scenes with the robot waving arms wildly, saying "Danger! Danger! Danger!"
That's a good old tinfoil radiation belt once again.
I think it's Saran wrap.
Well,
Here's a chat.
Here's
Here's a chat.
I
I don't know. Could be. It looks like tinfoil to me.
Well, it is, but it's transparent, so you have to be able to see through it.
Oh, that's true.
Go ahead, Gorilla. Thank you.
Yeah, he says, pop culture. I still have my Remco toy robot B9.
Wow.
But it's still worse for rare.
That's probably worth a small fortune these days.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I would have died for one of those.
Now. Yeah. I've looked at those on eBay, and they go for a lot of money if they're in decent condition. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, now of course, what kid in the 60s, 70s knew to keep it in the box and not touch it? We couldn't, of course. We had to get up, open it, and play with everything.
Yeah, I never even saw one.
I thought some remake stuff.
They never even had them.
Things.
Never had them in my part of the world.
They've remade them. I know I've seen them on sale from manufactured by different companies over the years, but I don't know about the Remco ones.
They were probably the original 60s version.
Now, remember,
Stone Racket has a lot of cool stuff.
Oh, that's great to hear. I can't wait to see. Maybe someday we'll see some of them. And remember that some of the toy B9 robots we're going to see in an upcoming episode. So they actually make use of them. So that'll be it.
Oh, yeah. That's a cool episode.
And here we are where they're going through the radiation belt. And that's why I'm just guessing. I think it's like a, well, I know saran wrap is like a name brand, but you guys know what I mean by plastic wrap, because it looks like it's transparent. It looks like it has to be transparent in order for them to film it. And you can see the ship on the other side. I'm sorry, was that Jill?
That I agree that it looks like saran wrap.
Okay.
It's a good point.
And this is actually a pretty exciting scene here, as the Jupiter 2 is being thrust about, and everyone also is being thrown around, and the robot is just going completely haywire. I thought this is a pretty exciting scene. And once again, we have another episode written by Peter Packer.
Oh, yeah, my favorite writer of Lost in Space.
And directed by Nathan Juran, as we all know, he's done many of these.
Yeah, no, but Peter Packer didn't do such a bad job, really. I don't think.
Well, I'm not going to give my rating yet, but
yeah, don't. Maybe I was just so turned off by the last one that my standards are low.
Well, yes, I will 100% agree with you, Jill. This is a much, much better episode than the last one for sure. but that's coming from a place way down on the scale, right? So
Although
that doesn't mean it's excellent.
this is kind of silly. The temperature is only 1 million degrees Kelvin. No, that's
Right,
not
it's
so
like
hot.
right that would right because we've had in the very first episode where they were getting close to the well, it wasn't a comet, was it? But they were getting close to something, and it was getting overheated. So, but yeah, but now suddenly the ship can handle 1 million degrees
It was
Kelvin.
it was some kind of fireball thingy, wasn't it, that they flew through or something?
Yes.
But I can't remember if it was a comet per se.
Peter Packer, writer of the wondrous first episode, The Derelict, was asked to provide a story of that type for the new season. Similarities include the Jupiter 2 being lured to a strange planet. In The Derelict, it was a giant spaceship, and the Robinson's investigation of a world or spaceship of mystery, horror, and wonder. The big difference is the stories changed from the first season noir of The Derelict to the comedy of The Ghost Planet. Each approach is fun in its own way if you want to compare space apples to galactic oranges. Now I'm going to answer your question. Why is it called Ghost Planet? I was going to answer this, and I was right, but here it is in the book. But I must say, I don't know this from reading the book, because I hadn't read the book until tonight. But I was sticking to this while watching the episode. Here we go. The story was called The Ghost Planet because of the mummified remains of past space visitors in a chamber identified in the script as interior room of ghostly figures, and
Oh,
in the shooting schedule as the Hall of Figures, in which, while being led to a treasure room, Smith slithers by ghosts.
well, it makes sense now.
And see, I was thinking that maybe those are like, well, I don't know. I was thinking kind of like Star Trek. I thought maybe that's a civilization of living beings that used to live on the planet that created the robots, and now the human beings are dead. And that's the statues and everything they created. They're long gone. All that's left is robots. But I was
Yeah.
thinking too much into it.
Hey, do you guys want the conversion rate from kelvins to Fahrenheit?
Sure.
Sure.
1 million kelvins equals 1,799,540.33 degrees Fahrenheit. So,
Yeah, that would melt the ship immediately.
yeah.
Okay, I just looked up a Remco Lost in Space robot from 1966. It sold on eBay recently for $446.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's nuts. If you
Yeah.
have vintage, if you have the real deal vintage collectibles, yeah, collectibles is a huge market actually, come to think of it. Because I've been on eBay for years and I've looked at a lot of this stuff
Yeah,
before.
Stone Rocket, you're lucky. Hold on to that.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish I had one of those suckers. Oh boy. Oh well,
Look,
probably never
and
gonna happen.
I want to mention here the presence of ghostly figures was minimized during the rewriting stages, and any implications that the mummified remains had a lingering awareness was eliminated, all due to concern from CBS that ghosts would prove more frightening than cyborgs to the young viewing audience.
That would have been pretty creepy, actually. Yeah.
And
Hey,
this is the episode where the robot gets his name.
Hmm.
hey, Pop, do you have any
Yes.
mods on Twitch? We got a
Mods
bot.
on Twitch. Oh, if there's a bot, we can still block it here, can't we?
No, not from here. You gotta do it on Twitch.
Oh,
Well,
and I don't have that open. Well, at least it's not a bunch of cuss words and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, it's just offering some management thing.
So that's the only thing that's good for the Twitch is good for, I guess, right?
And welcome, Melted Copper.
Hello, Melted Copper. I'm looking. I don't see it in. Interesting. I don't see it in YouTube.
It's in Twitch. Twitch, not it's a Twitch bot.
Right, but what I'm saying is that we can see it in the StreamYard,
Yeah,
but I don't
but
think it's showing up on YouTube. Can you guys see it on YouTube?
no, because it's coming from Twitch. We can see both here, but YouTube can't see Twitch comments, and Twitch cannot see YouTube comments.
Oh, okay. I thought the Twitch
No.
could also be seen on YouTube, but I was wrong. Thank you.
It's not going to affect the stream on YouTube then, so that's good.
And Jim here says, I have a 2-foot remote B9 robot. Cool.
2 foot. Wow.
And Stone Record says, how many peppers did Peter Packer pick? The melted copper here says, Spock, open got cut for looking like Satan. Hey guys, remember the 2000s movie?
Well, yeah, it was the 1990s of Lost in Space, and not good.
That's a movie I want to forget.
Yeah, another episode, right? Another example of a Akiva Goldsman. Anything that he touches turns to crap,
It was
like the
pretty
new
bad.
Trek. Yeah,
Yeah, and the robot looked awful, I thought.
I wanted to mention for this story, the robot was given a name of a sort. He is identified as B9. After reading the script, Jonathan Harris sent praise to Irwin Allen in a handwritten note. Harris cheered. Dear Irwin, Ghost Planet is staggering, stupendous, and altogether marvelous. Jonathan. And the director, Nathan Jurin, this was his 5th directing assignment on Lost in Space. On the heels of his 2nd season kickoff episode, Blast Off into Space. Okay, so now we have enough of that. Sorry for the delays, everybody.
Hey,
So
fine.
here we are, them getting ready to crash land on that planet, supposedly.
Well, I
But
got
they
a
get
question here. Why
Yes.
did they not lock Dr. Smith out from the controls?
Well, I know,
especially
yeah, I know.
last time? And the
They
time
never
before
do that. But they never
After
do
several
that, right?
times,
I
yeah,
mean,
after several times, and then he used his
Smith-
ring.
Many episodes he's meddled with the controls and caused, problems for them. Like, I've lost count how often he gets away with that, right?
Well, in practicality, I guess they could have, at least at a minimum, blocked him in his quarters until they get to Earth or Alpha Centauri,
Yeah.
I suppose, right? I mean, he is a stowaway.
Well,
Or it's like-
personally, I've gone a little bit further, but this is a family show.
Yes, it is.
Well, he was kind of the main attraction of the series, though, so I guess they couldn't be too hard on him, right?
Well, and he
Yeah.
makes sure that he's on camera more than anyone. I
Oh,
noticed that, for example, when the ship rocks to the left, and then it shows the left-hand side of the ship, and you see Will, Penny, and what's the older sister's name?
Judy.
Oh, Judy.
Judy. Duh, my mind goes blank. I'm sorry. Yeah, but it'll cut to the left-hand side of the bridge, where you see Will, Penny, and Judy kind of falling against the wall. And then when they do that, think about this. Jonathan Smith flies into the scene, acts with them. The ship swings to the right, and then it shows the two men of Major West and Professor Robinson trying to maneuver the ship. And then here comes Dr. Smith back into frame, reacting with them. The ship goes back to the left, he goes back to the left. The ship goes to the right, he comes into the right. So he always actively made sure he was on screen more than everyone else. Sorry, that's a little side note.
No, don't be
But
sorry. I'd never considered that.
Well, he's a
Well,
camera hog, and there was an old
he still-
comedian. Go ahead.
I'm not surprised though, really.
I
Go
mean,
ahead, Jill.
he still the shows with his acting. I didn't know he was trying to do it on purpose, though. He did
Yes.
it though. He's very successful at it.
Yes, there was an old comedian that used to do that too, and they used to make fun of him, but he didn't care. Milton Berle, he would do the same thing. He would do everything he could to be on camera more than anyone else. And he stole jokes. So here they are. Okay, it's too late to try to get out of the planet. The planet's using some sort of tractor beam to pull them in towards it. No matter how hard they try with all the ship's engines or thrusters or rockets, depending on how you want to put it, they're being pulled in. And that was when they get the voice back from the space controller, the female voice telling them that they're free to land, even though they don't want to.
Hey, but at least this time they don't crash.
That is true. And this scene right here is a new scene that they shot for this episode.
Yeah, this is the first time I believe that we see the Jupiter 2 extend its landing gear, which I love this scene because it's so cool.
Well, I was worried about that. Didn't we see that in the Derelict? Or I could be wrong.
Oh gosh, we might have. It's been so long though.
That was where they, like we said, it was also.
Yeah, we
like
might have
the
actually.
Packer.
Come to think of it, we might
Right,
have.
but they flew
actually.
inside, possibly.
Maybe I'd have to
Oh,
go
it's been
back
so
and look.
long.
It's been like, wow, is it like what, a year or something now? It must be getting
Oh
close,
yeah.
right? Darn. Yeah, I forget
Yeah.
totally. Gosh. But it's so cool to see it in color, and because I always thought the landing gear was great the way they designed it, and then of course they did the mock-up in real full scale so the crew could walk down the steps, and I always thought that was always great. I love the landing gear. It looks so good.
Yes, it was like they built more and more props to go along as the show went, which is really it was similar to Star Trek.
Yeah,
They built more and more parts of the Enterprise as the show progressed, depending on the script.
makes sense.
All right, and I've got something I'm going to share with everybody here really quick before we move on. And, I have so many windows all blocking each other. It's like that's ridiculous.
You see, Judy is in this episode.
Judy, and she actually gets a line or two finally.
Well,
Yeah,
someone
actually,
has
the women don't get much to do in this episode, really, overall, do they? Come to think
No,
of it.
they get nothing.
Yeah,
Right? They
because I
didn't
mean,
just react when they need to react, I guess.
well, Penny gets maybe a couple lines, and Judy maybe gets a couple lines, and Maureen probably gets a couple lines, but that's about it. When I
Yeah,
think
but
about it.
their lines of almost no consequence.
Oh,
Maybe there
totally.
was one that Marine had that indicated her intelligence, and that was it.
Yeah, I think Penny made one comment too about questioning the situation or something. I can't remember the exact line, but she was kind of skeptical in one line she delivered, which I thought was kind of a nice touch, even though it wasn't much, but it was better than nothing, I guess.
Right, and then after that, they're limited to being downstairs in the lower deck, I guess. And here, as
For
you can see,
sure.
is a behind-the-scenes shot of them.
Cool.
Like, there we go. That was with the 3.5 foot model. So just like Star Trek, they use different size models depending on the scene.
Mm.
Very neat.
What I like
There we
about
go.
the later two seasons is we do get to see the Jupiter 2 land more often and use the landing gear as well as the series goes on. So I always had a lot of fun on those episodes when they actually landed. It was
All
cool.
right, let's catch up on chat real quick.
Thank you, Gorilla.
Taylor here says, "Awesome that Stone Racket." LOL. The Stone Racket says, "Taylor, yes, by Two Cats also think it's awesome." Stone Racket says, "Pop culture." Judy, Judy, Judy.
I know it. I can't believe I forgot that. But see, I'll tell you. I'll be. I'm going to be honest. The reason why I have trouble with their names is because I get the names of the actors and actresses mixed up with the character names. So, like many times, instead of saying Will Robinson, I'll accidentally say Billy Mooney, and then vice versa. So I've got to get that out of my head. I got to start thinking because Marta Kristen. I know that's her name. I kept thinking Marta Kristen, but no, it's yeah, it's right, Judy. That's right.
Yeah.
So that's my problem is I know them a little too well. I had the same problem when I do Gilligan's Island. Sorry, go ahead. Thank you,
Yes.
but thank you for pointing that out, Stone Racket.
And Stoner Racket here says the Ghost Planet or Dr. Smith gets the Robinsons into a mess yet again.
Oh yes, he does.
Melted Copper says, "I haven't watched Lost in Space since like 1987. It was in the realm of Spectre Man, a kaiju show. I think I made up as no one ever knows of it. It was like Ultraman, but I
Ultraman.
forgot an ape guy."
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember Spectre, but I do remember Ultraman.
Yeah, and Stoner Racket says, "Pop culture, you are correct. The Jupiter 2 extends its landing gear in the derelict."
Oh, cool.
All right, that's all our chats.
Thank you,
Right.
Stone Racket.
So here we have Dr. Smith with, according to him, his luggage. So I imagine there's not a lot that he can carry in that, which looks to me like a purse, but who knows?
It almost looks like a medical bag or something.
It's a
weird,
man.
actually.
Hey, don't be dissing Dr. Smith over his man purse.
So it's a merce, I guess. I remember that term was going around for a while there. But it looks to me, I mean, I'm not one to usually point out, I don't have the eye for it. But doesn't that look like a very expensive designer bag, but that they still sell now with the same design?
That sounds like a Jill question.
You would think so, but I don't buy purses of this caliber. I'm not as fancy as Dr. Smith.
Well,
I
you
buy
don't go.
cloth purses that have, Star Trek designs on them. I don't
Oh,
buy super expensive bags.
well, you don't go purse shopping at the $1 bin at the thrift store.
I'm talking about the I don't know if it's like Dolce and Cabana. I don't remember all the names, but there's a store that is one of the they do all those raids where like 12 people run in and rob everything. But
Yeah.
all their handbags have the same design, and they also have trouble with people selling knockoffs.
Well,
Oh
That
yeah,
well, well, my
that
favorite,
I remember the name of it. I'm sure
yeah. There's
somebody out there knows.
a lot of
well,
counterfeits. Yeah.
my favorite one was in Chicago. There, they did a designer shoe show, and they just went and bought a bunch of shoes for a pail of shoes. And
Yeah,
why stores.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
welcome,
know about these brands or anything. Sometimes I'm not a good representative of the female gender.
and welcome Daniel's Hot Topics. He says this looks
Hello,
like a
Daniel.
cool episode.
I
I
like
don't
it.
know.
I like this right here where John is actually threatening him, even though I doubt he actually has irons or what's
I
an
know,
hardtack.
right?
Hard
Well, they did mention hardtack a few episodes ago. Because we even looked it up, and it's a material that it's like a hard bread that they make out of dough and water
Yeah,
that they used to use back in the day, and so they have. This is the second time they've mentioned it in Lost in Space.
yeah. I think hardtack was originated back like during the days of the old sailing ships.
Sailing
Hundreds of
ships,
years ago, because it
and,
wouldn't spoil, right? It was like a hard.
correct,
It was like
cracker, like a
yeah, it's
hard
like a
cracker.
hard cracker, so it wouldn't spoil and it would last forever. And that's what a lot of the sailors ate, right, on those ships.
And also, the cowboys used to carry them that and beef jerky
That
on
would
it.
make sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would make good sense. Yeah.
Okay, so here we are. We've landed, and the robot goes out to first. Of course, I'll get caught up. Doctor Smith is so excited. He wants to go out and say hello to the welcoming party, but they advise him that it may not be a good idea. So they send out the robot instead, which is a much better idea. The robot goes out, turns around, and as it does that, of course, a smaller robot, which I'm sure you guys have to recognize some of the props that robot's made out of. But we're really going to start seeing a lot of props reused for these episodes. So this other android or robot, whatever you want to, I guess it's a robot, comes out and shoots our beloved B9 robot and deactivates him.
Even still, she's kind of cute.
Yes, she is.
I always wondered though, they're trying to pretend they're like friendly, welcome, right, to the Robinsons, and then they go and disable the robot, with a laser blast or whatever. It's like that didn't really make much sense to me because it seemed like it's obviously a hostile action. If you're trying to lull the Robinson, crew into, walking out of the ship and you know taking advantage of them in whatever way, it doesn't make sense that they would, shoot the robot. I don't know. That
Well,
kind of bugged me.
I think that the robots are thinking that the Robinson didn't see that because if you remember, they deactivate the robot, they shoot it with something, and then it shows the Robinson family waiting all night long until the next day, and then that's when the robots come back out and say your robot is damaged, we'll repair it for you. I think
But
they're trying to lure the Robinsons out of the ship.
but the Robinsons do look out the window and see that the
Oh
robot's been
yeah.
disabled. They don't know how it happened because they didn't see the other robot do it, but they're obviously aware even during the night. Because I remember, Professor Robinson says, "Well, we can't risk going out there in the dark. We got to wait till morning, right?" So
Yeah,
Yes.
they
wait,
were
where's
aware.
the morning? It feels like they're on the inside. Like, are they even
Yeah,
outside?
yeah, it
Yeah, I
just
guess
seemed
it's
weird. Yeah,
by the ship's clocks, I guess.
yeah, it
All
just seemed
right.
kind of odd. Yeah. Oh well, it's a Peter Packer episode. I'm not going to overthink it too much.
Yeah,
That's
Right,
what
because
they
we know
compliment parents.
right, we know he didn't think of it too much, so we shouldn't have to.
Oh boy.
Oh, so okay, the robot gets shot, the doors close, and here's where we head back with the family. And by the way, this was the
Okay.
first time I'm not sure yet if it's the only time, but it's the first time we see the spotlight on the Jupiter 2 being used.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't remember if they use it again later on in the
These are
series.
the androids.
Right, these are also androids,
Yeah,
not very effective, I guess, and
I
their
kind of,
arms are
yeah,
don't do much.
I had a problem with the Android dudes actually, because it's like, okay, why do they shuffle around? Like, why can't they just like walk, walk a little better? I guess it's a bad design or something because they're kind of slow. And then why the folded arms? Like, I know it's supposed to be like sci-fi and cool and weird and whatnot, but I just kind of thought it looked a little bit goofy when I was watching it.
Well,
I
it
don't
did.
know.
If you compare it to, yeah, if you compare it to what a little girl's made of, yeah, it's definitely quite inferior.
Yeah. But it is kind of comical, so I guess I can't totally dislike it because it was kind of fun, these goofy looking, things running around.
And I guess in the production notes, they refer to them as automatons.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
So maybe they're not supposed to be quite so sophisticated, perhaps.
Oh, that could be. Yeah. Simple design, perhaps.
So
They're
here's
like
where we have,
minions.
yes, exactly. Apparently, they're under the control of the female robot, which I guess we'll find out here soon enough. And then we'll find out, of course, she's under control of another presence.
Hmm.
So there they are. The robot is still incapacitated. And like I said, they're trying to lure the Robinsons out of the ship. Art directors Robert Kinoshita and Jack Martin Smith demonstrated their talents well during the filming of this episode. Kinoshita was responsible for the Space Controller Officer 03, a clever and highly original design for a robot. All the sets outside the Jupiter 2 are wonderfully strange. The purple rocks and other contrasting and eye catching colors enhance the effect, along with a fair amount of raiding of the 20th Century Fox prop storage facilities, making good use of many statues and other artifacts created for the studio's pricey Cleopatra feature. So some of those props and those statues we're getting are from Cleopatra.
Hmm. Wow.
The silent cyborgs are an especially unusual concept with their face masks, colorful long robes, and arms folded as they scurry from place to place with tiny quick steps. And what about that supreme brain looking like a giant popped package of Jiffy Pop? Have we ever seen anything of its type before? The female robot is a good example of recycled props. Here we go.
Hmm.
Her tubular body is the NGS scanner from atop the full-size Jupiter 2. The scanner was often in Lost in Space and appeared in its proper location atop the Jupiter 2 in the third season episode, Visit to a Hostile Planet. So if you remember, there was a scene where it was damaged and they had to go up and repair it. I think it was Dawn that had to go up and repair it.
Hmm.
And we're talking about the body of that robot on the left right there.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Gosh. It
Well,
was
that's
such
good
a unique
then.
Well, it was such a unique design. I actually really like the design of the lady robot here. If there is such a thing as a gender
I
in
do too,
robots.
and it's really smart to reuse what you've already got.
Yeah, it worked well. I thought it was really cool, and the whole, globe, the globe head thing was pretty awesome. Like I thought, wow, this is actually very original. I got to give them, points for the design of the robot for sure.
Yes, I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I like the teddy bear ears.
I was actually thinking it reminded me of something else that had his ears, but I don't really want to mention it on the stream because it's not a company that most people are too fond of these days. So, but it did
Oh,
remind me of that.
oh, oh, okay, yeah, that too.
It was a cool design.
Are you talking about Playboy there, PvP?
No,
No,
Mickey Mouse.
oh, I didn't want to say it. Oh,
Tisk
I,
tisk
I
gorilla.
didn't. I didn't want to even mention them. Oh well. It's out of the bag now. I was trying to be subtle. Anyway,
Apparently, this was a very
Just didn't want it to snowball into something else.
oh, Gorilla was going into a weird place. Yeah, I can understand why you thought that, Jill. Yeah, yep. Oh boy, oh boy.
apparently this script, which I'll cover when we get to those scenes,
Hmm.
was very. There was a lot that was in the script that did not make it to screen due to budget constraints and time,
Huh.
and I'll cover some of that when we get there.
So Smith still thinks he's back on Earth, like, and the president is going to come and greet him for some bizarre reason. It's like,
Well, yeah,
Smith.
but by the look on his face, I think this is when he's starting to get a little bit of doubt.
Well, you think with the robot and all these weird, background dudes here, the autonomons or oh gosh, I can't even pronounce it, but you know what I mean. You think he would have realized this is definitely not planet Earth by this point, like.
Oh yeah, as soon as they landed and they saw the door that said 115 and the rocks, they're like, okay, yeah, there's no way this is Earth. This is
Yeah.
definitely not Alpha Control.
Yeah, Smith is like really self-delusional, I thought, in this episode.
Yes.
Like he's
He's
just like
extremely
crazy.
deluded.
Yeah, he's crazy in this one almost. Like he's just not in reality at all.
Well, once again, he's blinded by riches.
Greed.
And it's funny,
yeah.
right? And it's funny too. Of course, the robot asks him, "Are you the leader?" And he doesn't hesitate. Yes, I am. Of course, with no hesitation.
Hey,
Of
did you
course.
learn from that one episode that you don't volunteer to be the leader?
That's right. And well, he finds that out here, right? That's what he gets for doing that. Oh, somebody's having a good time.
Sounds like somebody's having a party somewhere.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
there is
jealous.
a party going on. I'm sorry. I thought I had it muted.
No,
Uh-oh.
it's quite all right. Happy birthday to whoever or whatever's going on.
That's cool. That's
It's
cool.
always a party here.
Uh-oh.
Or
Excellent.
bedtime.
Oh, the secret's out now.
And here we are.
Yeah,
This is
go
where we
ahead,
get
Bob.
our ghost name. So for those of you that weren't sure, this is where our Hall of Ghosts room. And of course, like I said, CBS were the ones that wanted them to dial the ghost part back. And like I said, these props, a lot of them are from Cleopatra and other shows and movies.
Yeah, I don't
So
know
here's-
why I never picked up on that, because it's obvious once you mentioned it that, yeah, that's why Ghost Planet makes sense now. But I just didn't even think of it when I was watching it.
And see,
Well,
like I said, go ahead, Jill.
Well, I wanted to say the female robot is offering Dr. Smith riches in exchange for the weapons, the Robinson's weapons. But
Yes.
because of this scene, they say, "Oh, we're defenseless, so we want you to be defenseless too." But if they're doing this to all of these people, then they can't be defenseless.
Yeah, I totally agree. The fact that he fell for that.
Oh, that's why I kind of like this episode, because they're lying, and that kind of amplifies their villainy, I think, in a kind of cool way. Even though this isn't really referenced again.
Or,
You're right about that.
we got a lot of chats here. This really took
Thank
off.
you, Gorilla. I appreciate that.
Nelson Copper says music and fashion are always the passion at the Copacabana.
Right. Just ask Barry Manilow.
Yeah. And Stoner Racket says, look out, robot B9. And Stoner Racket says, cute but deadly Jill. And Nelson Copper says, could this robot beat Short Circuit Johnny 5? Why weren't there any robots also on the robot fight show? I have absolutely no idea what he's talking about. So let's see you guys.
I think I'm just, this is a stretch, but I think he's talking about a show that used to be on, I think, MTV, where people made homemade robots. They were mostly short, like maybe a foot or two high, and they would battle inside of like a caged arena.
I think it was called Robot Wars, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and it was on Discovery or MTV or something like that.
Yeah, we used to get it here in Canada too. Actually, I used to watch that show because it was kind of fun, actually, because some of the robot designs people would come up with was very ingenious at times, actually. And they'd usually like have a big axe or something
Right.
to
Jagged
chop each other to
teeth.
bits. Yeah.
Yes, it was actually fun. They had like a circular saw.
Oh yeah,
was-
yeah. I remember though. Yeah, it was actually a fun show. I mean, it's kind of dumb, but it was fun, right?
Dumb. That I don't think it was dumb. Well, you had to have a lot of technical know-how
No, I'm not
and
saying the people were
programming and
dumb. I
everything.
just thought the concept was pretty basic, right? Because,
Oh, right, right,
you know,
right.
and then it
Well, the
got very,
people making the robots were smart, but the
oh, yeah,
actual entertainment
they were the
itself, I
best
guess.
part of, yeah, best part of the show. I agree with that, Jill. Yeah.
All right.
I just found it repetitious, I guess, after a while, Jill, you know.
Great comment there, Melted Copper.
And Daniel says, "Oh, the aliens look so cheesy."
I know, I agree, Daniel, but now remember, those are automatons now.
Yeah. Stoneraka says the shuffle-footed and bubble-faced android. Yay!
I can't help but think
Yay.
that they shuffled along to drag out the time. I hate saying that, but I think that's probably why the robots did not move very fast, or automaton, whatever they were. I think that's why they didn't move very fast. Is because we got to stretch this out into an hour.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, Pop, because there wasn't really a whole lot of story in this episode. When I think about it, it kind of did get stretched out as far as
It
they could
did.
stretch it.
And
Yeah.
there's like what, 3, maybe 4 locations that they go back to, bounce back and forth. There's not a lot of detail, I guess, or
Yeah.
moving around. And here's where we get our first glimpse of the
Oh,
wondrous riches that Dr. Smith is hoping to, of course, get his greedy hands on.
we still
Go
have
ahead, Gorilla.
a ton of chats here,
Sorry, thank you, Gorilla. Go ahead.
and and Mouth Copper says you people are racist to weird alien. Hey! I am not prejudiced. I mock everyone. And Daniel says, but they look cool either way. And Stoner Racket says, Pop, what are little girls made of? Andrea, the android, is the greatest android of all time.
I know she was a hot. Now remember, she was in Lost in Space.
Yeah, she was.
Was she?
She was in the Sharecropper episode.
Yeah. And welcome to the Evolution 78.
Hello, good to see you.
I've never seen Ghost Planet. It looks like you have to look this title up. Thanks.
I do recommend this, and thank you for the reminder there too. If you guys have not seen this, anybody, we highly recommend these shows that we cover because they are very entertaining, and we do not mean to spoil them for you. So if you haven't seen them, please do try to watch them in their proper context.
Yeah, hello to do the Evolution 78.
Yeah, hello, Evolution.
Yeah, and Melted Copper says the screenshot looks like you watched the Teletubbies while on acid.
I don't understand that comment at all.
Melted Copper says Mickey Mouse is in public domain now.
No.
It's Steamboat Willie.
Steamboat Willie. Yes.
And what I understand is only the silent Steamboat Willie.
No, that's not correct. No, here's what it is. Okay, I'll make this quick because I know we're off topic. But okay, so Disney, knowing that the copyright was going to expire for Steamboat Willie, and knowing there was nothing they could do about it, what they did was they took that short clip of where he's steering the ship and whistling, and then they used that as the intro to some of their movies the last few years. By doing that, they trademarked that, so it's considered a trademark and not a copyright now.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Jeez, Disney. Oh,
yes. Well, they can afford the lawyers.
So
basically, yes, the copyright expired, but now it's considered a trademark, which never expired, by the way. And a trademark, if you guys are wondering what's the difference, a trademark, for example, if I buy, like right now, I'm drinking a Pepsi, and the symbol on the side of that can, the design is owned by Pepsi. And if another company tries to make something with the same design, they can get sued.
Right.
So that's a trademark and not a copyright.
So if you did a T-shirt with the Pepsi logo on it, you could get sued.
I would get sued, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So now Mickey Mouse is a logo. So it's basically a logo now. So anyway, so either way, do not make a video based on it, or you will get flagged. Just a warning.
I suppose though, if you didn't show the clip with him whistling and it was just like a still image, that would still be fair use, right?
A still image of that scene where he's in the cabin steering. Don't try to do, but separately, what you could do and get away with is you could have a figure that looks like that original Mickey Mouse, which is mostly a stick figure, but not set on the boat.
Okay, so there is some leeway then. Not that I care about it, because I'm not going to do anything with it anyway, because I have no interest in doing anything, promoting anything to do with Mickey Mouse. So
I agree, but don't be surprised if we get a killer Mickey Mouse movie like we do Winnie the Pooh. So I'm sure that's
It's
going to
already
happen.
out.
actually, that's already been
Already
produced,
out.
In
hasn't
the,
it?
already in the works, yeah, I'm
It's
sure.
Yeah,
already out.
yeah,
And Tigger also hit the public domain, so expect to see that him involved.
yeah. I think there was a Tigger killer movie too. Yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
Well, I wish someone who actually knows how to make a good movie will make these movies. It just seems like they're trying to cash out on it instead of
The problem is, right,
making
it's people
something
who
cool.
don't know how to make good movies and they're very low budget. They're terrible, so that's the problem.
No, they're just trying to cash in, while the iron's hot, so to speak, right? As soon as
Well,
something
right,
goes into public domain.
right, but it's a double-edged sword. I'll give you an example. That bad killer Winnie the Pooh movie that came out a year or two ago. I mean, it was terrible, but Disney didn't go after them because Disney also does not want to attract undue attention to that company. So, for example, if you have a movie that comes out that doesn't really do very well, but if Disney goes after them, it makes the press that Disney's going after them, then suddenly that movie's going to be successful.
Yep. Oh
So
yeah,
that's
that makes
that's a fine line Disney has to walk.
makes sense. Yeah.
So I go ahead, continue, Gorilla. Thank you.
Alrighty. Do Evolution here says I reserve the right to change my opinion on any media content.
There you go.
Copper. That's Steamboat Mickey Mouse, a different infomercial, the original but different nonetheless. And
Right,
Melts
different
Copper says,
incarnation.
shh, with your dirty facts and wisdom. And Evolution says, personally, I think Steamboat Mickey needs to enter the mouse house and clean it out. And
Very
Evolution
possible.
says, Disney has stomach cancer. Go figure. And Copper here says, like Spock being seen as Satan, they were weird about ghosts. Zach Bagans, the ghost hunter, did so much for civil rights. And Evolution says music is awesome, but the fashion world needs some serious work. Robot Wars.
Oh,
And,
okay. Yeah. Discovery. There you go. That was the channel it was on. Thank you.
and I want Evolution says I want the Terminator. Someone's tired, yawn. Yeah, I am. And Dr. Smith, the only doctor, I would pay him a beating instead of a copay. Yeah. And Copper says, I want my doctor to be G.I. Joe Doctor Mindbender. Shirtless and cape is how all doctors should dress.
That's interesting.
And Evolution says, hi, Jill. The Dio's in the house.
Right.
Hello there.
All right, we're all caught up now.
All right, and I'm gonna grab. I got my soda. Pepsi's empty. I'm gonna grab another one. I'll be right back.
All right.
So Dawn actually gets to do something in this episode more than just well, actually, I guess he does hate on Smith, so it's kind of the same old thing, isn't it?
Kind of, but he gets to do it on the planet.
Yeah, at least he's off the ship. That's true. That's yeah, exactly, Jill. Yeah.
I still want him to see him punch Dr. Smith right in the face, but that's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen because Smith's like the star of the show, so you can't punch the star out, I guess.
Well,
I
you
do-
could, but
I do like at least they had a couple of reserve guns in the ship, hidden away that Smith couldn't steal because he took like probably 90% of their guns, right? I like what a goofy guy. I mean, yeah, give all the guns, all the defensive weapons on the ship, take them over and drop them off on the floor
Well,
to some
he did
strange
say
aliens.
that's true. I agree.
I mean,
But
this
he
is-
did say that he didn't take all of them. He knew he didn't take all of them. He told that was his reassurance to Will.
Yes, he
Okay.
did say he left a few behind.
But here's another problem I have with the whole gun thing, guys.
Oh, me too. I hope
It's
it's
like-
what I have.
Well, it's like if you've been living with Dr. Smith for like over a year or whatever, timeline in the show, I'm not sure, but it's probably been around a year since they, got
Yeah,
lost.
about
in
a year or
space.
so.
Wouldn't Professor Robinson and Dawn like just lock all those weapons up in a weapons locker with a big key and a padlock and a combination lock and a warning system? If Smith got like 10 feet within the door, it would set off an alarm, so they could, grab them. Like you'd think so, right?
Well, when it
But
comes
no.
to that specific topic, I have to say, now, I know the plot of Lost in Space has evolved or changed since it first aired. But
Hmm.
remember, the whole family is supposed to be trained on that ship and with guns. So if they lock him up, they would have to run to get Professor Robinson and Major West. Now, if those two guys are disabled for some reason, they wouldn't be able to get those weapons. So I think they want the weapons available in case the women, because we've seen Maureen with the weapons.
No, but I would think.
So
Well,
it would be keeping Doctor Smith specifically away from the weapons.
well, I just think they would give the ladies all the codes, the weapon locker code as well. It'd be like maybe a
Well, yeah, it had a
four-digit code,
combination.
and they
Yeah.
could just punch it in if an emergency happened, and it would take like a couple of seconds, right?
And that
Right.
makes sense, PvP, but the problem is sometimes Don and John they leave Smith and Will and the robot alone on the bridge on the bridge by themselves.
Right. And if you
Mhm.
notice that, which they have established, is they don't have like what would be considered like a gun safe. What they have is like is considered like a gun rack, and it's over by the exit door where they go down that the platform to the ship. It's all right over to the left. They've showed it before, where it looks like a gun rack, and that's where their
Yeah,
guns are kept. So they would have to build something if they wanted to encase it.
but I still think, I mean, we've got gun safe, ways to store guns in the present day. I mean, I'm sure if you were an advanced, future, flying around the galaxy, you might have developed some way to keep the guns like, in a safe condition where, because what if an alien got on the ship and grabbed the gun? Like, right?
Well, they have had aliens on the ship before. I don't think they've thought about the details of it though.
But I'm just saying, it seems to me that it's a little too easy to access the guns, is my point that I'm making. So, yeah.
That makes sense. So here we are, Dr. Smith telling the Robinsons that they're all invited for a big feast and a welcome party aboard the planet.
Oh boy.
And they're I don't know why, but the kids are easily amused and apparently falling for the gag. But
Yeah.
as we see, Maureen is not falling for it at all. She says, "I have a villain. We won't be attending."
Well, yeah, they want a Shirley Temple. Apparently, they're promised.
Yes, exactly right. Like
Well, the
they
thing
haven't figured
is,
out yet that there's something wrong, right? They should know by now. They're already been trying to get out of there, so it's like, no, I don't think I'll go to any party.
and Smith's making it all up because I don't remember the aliens ever telling him anything about a banquet for the family.
It's
I'm
true.
not
Well,
sure
of
if they
course he's
mentioned that.
yeah. That no, you're right. You're right, PvP. He's telling lies because he's being promised riches.
Yes.
Yes.
So anything to entice them to get them off the ship.
Actually, another thing I wonder about this scene where Professor Robinson and Don are checking out the robot to see what the aliens did to him when they repaired him. I'm just thinking, well, if you were an alien and you wanted to have control over the situation, wouldn't you put some kind of mechanism into the robot that would make him ineffective, that might disable him,
Well,
at the push of a button? Like, I just thought about that, and of course, the
well,
robot seems to be fine. So,
that's what his power pack removing his power pack does. And welcome pickles.
Yeah,
Sail
hello.
LDG, good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Hey,
hello.
LDG.
No, just all they have to do is remove his power pack, and the robot shuts down.
No, but I mean, the aliens would have probably, tampered with the robot's mechanism, right? If they wanted to take control of everybody, I would have thought.
And they make it sound, the robots make it sound like they're far superior than the B9 robot. I don't know if that's
Hmm.
true or not.
Yeah, it's hard to know exactly
They
what's true.
haven't. They haven't ingratiated themselves to B9 yet.
True.
We see that later on, right?
Believe it or not, this book that I'm reading here, the Lost in Space book, they speak highly of this episode. So they actually enjoy
Really?
it. Yeah, maybe they were,
Yeah,
so
Hmm.
desperate after the
maybe they
last
were
one.
like
They
me.
were.
That's me. That sounds like
Yeah, after that last wondrous episode we saw previously, I guess I could understand that actually.
yeah. Can't you? I mean, this is not a Shirley Temple machine. This is some kind of weapon.
Well, it was the same with the
Yeah.
last. It was the same with the last season when they had that episode where the civilization underground with the little girl, Sleeping Beauty. We were
Oh,
so
yeah.
happy to see the following episode after that.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Good old inconsistencies of Lost in Space. Always something wondrous for sure.
So here we have the welcoming party coming out.
I'm not exactly welcoming. No.
Welcome to getting your power drained.
Well, you know,
Right.
the thing is, Professor Robinson, I think maybe it was a mistake to tell them they were going to lift off. Maybe they just should have taken off with no warning because they might have had a chance then. But, oh well.
It would have been a great time for them to do that because that would have been before Smith takes all the weapons to the planet.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
So that's a good point.
And then they drain the power packs, I guess, don't they? So they can't go anywhere.
Blind everybody.
That's one thing, unfortunately, is considering the Jupiter 2 left in 1997, it unfortunately is not equipped with any sort of shields. So it often gets, has the effects and it is affected by outside forces like this.
Yeah, the Jupiter 2 is definitely less advanced than the USS Enterprise, that's for sure. That's a cool machine, though, I got to say.
Yeah, the prop looks amazing. I love it.
Yeah, did they recycle any parts of props to build that thing? I'm wondering.
Yes,
I have no idea.
It is definitely a combination of props from previous episodes.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Actually, I really like that. That was one of my favorite parts of the episode when they rolled that thing out. I thought, wow, that's a pretty cool machine.
And apparently, that's the machine that's holding. They don't spell it out in this episode, but I'm reading it from the book. That's the machine that's holding them in place. It drained their power, and it's not allowing them to leave.
Yep.
And there's Dr. Smith, and it's funny that the bag that has the guns in it. He tells Will that they're breadsticks.
Yeah,
These are
right.
breadsticks.
I mean, I can't believe Will actually fell for that. Actually, I thought he was a little more intelligent than that.
You give him too much credit there, PvP.
Well,
No, he's very intelligent, but also very gullible.
and
yes,
he also
there's a good way of explaining it. Yes.
and he trusts Dr. Smith far too much. I think Will thinks of Dr. Smith as like that crazy uncle that he kind of, is kind of fun to hang around with.
Well, he does. Will considers Dr. Smith a friend, and of course the rest of the Robinsons do not. But Will does like Dr. Smith.
True, very true. I don't know why, but it's very true.
Well, another thing that I have to point out that Dr. Smith drops the bag of the guns, and then as soon as he does, he gets basically abducted. And right then, Will could have picked up the bag and taken him back to the ship, or handed him to the robot and said, "Take these back to the ship."
It would have been very helpful because nobody ever does that this entire episode.
Correct. They just leave them there, and I'm like, "What?"
Well, what I want to know is, did they ever get those guns back? Because later on, they're going, "Oh, well, we're checking the guns for contamination," or some crazy line, which makes very little sense to me. But it's like, we never get most of our weapons back. Like, that's not a good thing.
That is a major plot hole of this episode. They just lost all of their weapons.
Right.
Unless they
went
and got them back, in a scene that got
off camera. Right.
Yeah.
Off camera.
Oh,
and now we find out. Right now, we find out who's been controlling the whole population of robots.
I gotta say, I do like this weird brain thingy, whatever the heck you want to call it, but it's pretty cool.
This reminds me of was it the Voyager episode that they all went in? Maybe it was a Voyager. I can't remember. There seems like to be one where like a central brain took over, was controlling the bodies of like 3 people and stuff.
There was a giant brain? Gee, I don't remember that one.
I guess it's Voyager I'm thinking of, but I can't remember which episode.
I haven't seen all of Voyager, so you could be totally right there, Gorilla, but I don't remember that. Gosh.
Yeah. Maybe.
I want to mention that the female robot, the actress's name was Sue England. She was the voice of Space Controller Officer 03. She was an actress and a voiceover artist who worked in motion pictures and television from the mid-40s to the mid-70s.
Huh.
Now, that big brain thing right there, was Michael Fox was the voice of the Supreme Brain and Cybernetic. I'm sorry, the Supreme Brain and Cybernetic Leader. He amassed well over 200 credits as an actor in films and on TV between the early 50s and the mid 80s.
Huh.
He excelled at playing judges, lawyers, and doctors. In fact, he was the resident coroner in a couple dozen episodes of Perry Mason. He
Oh,
took
okay.
he took 3 trips into the Twilight Zone,
Hmm.
including as the second Martian in Mr. Dingle the Strong. If you remember that one with Burgess Meredith, when he was the guy in the bar and they were pushing him around. Just a moment, I'm sorry.
Well, we're waiting for him on that. There.
I'm back, but go ahead, Gorilla.
Dr. Smith is a Democrat taking their guns away. Yeah. And he goes, what trust the ladies with guns? Book 1 of the Bible. They ruin things for everyone. Let them have gun, you madman.
No, they've established that they're all trained. So we've seen the women with guns, and we even saw Marine fire one in an episode from season 1.
Yeah,
So no, I think the women should definitely be trained with the firearms.
Yeah, and LDG says, hey guys, AJ, yo.
Hi,
Good to
LDG.
see you.
And Delta Carver says, hey, the LDG. And Taylor's giving us that person turquoise waving there. Scurvy here says they should only allow access to those who pass the phrenology exam. Okay. And Greg says, agreed, Scurvy. They shall not pass.
They shall not pass. Yes.
Yeah. Elder Greg says, no warning, arms waving wildly.
Maybe what at least they could have done, in reference to the guns, is installed some sort of alarm for when somebody grabs a gun or takes them, some alarm goes off. So
That's a
Exactly.
good idea. I
Right,
like
yeah.
that.
So, yeah,
I
so
just-
even if you're not allowed to make a gun safe of some sort, if you could set up an alarm system, camera system that monitors who takes them, I don't know. I know they didn't have CCTV cameras like we do now, but
I
an
just
alarm,
think
maybe.
I just think there should have been some kind of safeguard because they know Smith is going to do this every dozen episodes. He's going to do something goofy with the guns, right? It's like by
Yeah.
now you think they would have gone. We got to do something about this because we can't let Smith just mess with our guns. Because there was that one episode, didn't he take some of the guns apart and then Don was
Yes.
having to put them back together? Like
Will
what
was
the-
putting them back together. Yes.
yeah. So it's just like I don't know. It's a little. For me, it's always one thing in the series that kind of bugged me. It's like, come on, guys, this wouldn't
Well,
happen.
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, they had the right idea in the pilot when they were just going to freeze him in the tubes for the whole trip.
That would
Yes,
be good.
yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, but then he became the damn star of the show, Jill. So what can you do, right?
Right. So, quick.
Yeah, that's right. That's your answer for everything. All your
Quick-
questions.
It's
Yes.
true though, isn't it?
All
a
right.
quick excursion from the plot in Star Trek. Now I'm thinking TOS movies. When exactly did they establish on the Enterprise
Hmm.
that alarm went off whenever you would fire a phaser? Now, wasn't that Star Trek 6, or was it earlier?
Yeah, no, that sounds like Star Trek 6.
Yeah, that sounds like 6.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the same thing in Star Trek, though. People, I guess anybody could get their hands on weapons in Star Trek. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. What were you guys saying?
All right.
Oh, I'm pretty much done with my comment.
all right.
Yeah, I was too, except this is the first time we get to hear that this robot is called B9 because y'all have been calling him B9 this whole time. But now it's finally in universe for me. I see.
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh.
Well,
I see it.
I
Exchange.
always said earlier when I talked about the robot, the B9, it's like the letter B and the number 9 in the show, but it's also means like, benign, like as harmless, as like friendly, as like nice, right? He's benign, he's not malignant. He's not vicious or mean or nasty. He's a nice robot. He's a benign robot. And I
So
always
does
took that what it meant to me.
Does that mean we credit Peter Packer with naming the robot?
Could be. I'm really not sure. Or maybe Irwin Allen, put something in, in a memo. I
Yeah, I'm
I
going
actually
through
don't
the
know.
notes right now, and I don't see specifically whose
Hmm.
idea it was.
Yeah, I would love to know. Actually, that's a really good point, Pop. Actually, gosh. Hmm.
But now we know that it's official, though. He is B9.
Yes.
And in fact, I think this is a particularly strong robot episode. I think he really stands out in this one, which is nice because there's some episodes where we barely see him at all. So now the robot is talking to the brain of the supreme leader, saying, "Yes, I will do as you're bidding." And of course, the supreme leader is telling Will not to speak, but because they consider humans as inferior. And the robot is barking back orders at Will not to speak, basically repeating what the brain has to say. And they want to get all the which we haven't mentioned. They want to get all the reason why they want to get the Robinsons off the ship is so they can perform medial tasks with their hands because they have dexterity that, as we can see, the robots with their folded arms are unable to do. And Mr. Fox, who, like I said, Michael Fox, who's voicing the brain, he'll return for Lost in Space. He'll play another alien with a foreboding voice when we get to the episode Cave of the Wizards. And if you guys are wondering, which you probably are not, but I'll bring it up anyway. Dawson Palmer, our resident monster, was playing one of the cyborgs in this episode. So he's the one that we've seen the play of the monster, the ape man, the cyborg, the cyclops, everything, all these monsters we've always seen. He does pop up in this episode as well as one of the cyborgs. But he's now we know he's very tall, so I'm considering he's probably one of the taller ones.
That's cool. I'm glad he's here.
So am I. I mean, he's almost like one of the, just like with um, the actor
Eddie
playing the robot.
Paskey.
He's like one of the Eddie Paskey. There we go. He's
I
the
was
Eddie
thinking
Paskey of
Mr.
Lost in
Wesley.
Space. Ooh, I need to turn the air on. Oh my god, but I can't because it's a little big noise.
Yeah, I just looked up robot on Wikipedia because they've got an actual page on the B9 robot, which is pretty cool, actually. But I don't see anything about who named him because there must have been somebody who came up with that name, right? I mean, there had to
I've
be.
never heard of it either. Well, at least now we know specifically which episode. So all we
Yeah,
can
it's
do is
cool.
assume that it's the writer of the episode, which happened to be Peter
Yeah.
Packer.
Yeah,
So,
it's a nice little detailed page here with a lot of stuff about the B9's features and everything, but I don't see anything about the person. There must have been some person that came up with that name. There had to be.
well, Peter Packer wrote the story
Hmm.
treatment and the first draft, and as usual, Tony Wilson did the rewrites and the script polishing. So I don't know, and this book doesn't mention it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, this book is
unfortunate.
very detailed. Do you think that's one of the things they'd have in here?
Yeah, you'd think so, right? Because, gosh, I've always wanted to know, if it was one of the writers, if it was Irwin Allen. I mean, somebody had to come up with the name. Oh well, I guess maybe we'll never know.
But this is a really weird revelation that there's like a prototype, supreme prototype that is telling all robots that they shouldn't be listening to the commands of their creators.
Right, and there's an
And I think
established
it's
set of
kind of fun.
rules. Right, and there's an established set of rules which our B9 robot has been breaking by taking orders from the humans. So it's like this cybernetic brain is supposedly controlling robots everywhere. I don't know.
I don't know either. It's kind of wacky, but I kind of like it.
Ask me no questions, says the robot. And of course, Will has to just go along with it, and the robot pushes him out of the room.
So this is when B9 actually pulls a fast one here, getting the giant brain to think he's going to switch over to their side, even though, as we find out later, he's not 100% genuine in that.
Correct.
So the robot is actually using some intelligence and some initiative here, which is kind of awesome.
Yes.
Another development in his personality.
Good thing Will cleaned out those memory banks before they landed, right?
Oh, gosh. Just leave his poor memory banks alone. He's cool. I wouldn't want anybody erasing my memory banks. Geez, that would suck.
If you pledge allegiance to the kingdom of cybernetics.
And he's by being so, he's been immediately promoted, right?
Yeah, if he works even harder, he'll get promoted even faster. I love that brain. They built the brain just for this episode, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, and we'll see it again.
It's very cool. Like, man, they put a lot of work into that.
So this is where so basically they're telling Will Robinson to get to work and to go join Dr. Smith pretty much on the assembly line.
I think we might have lost Gorilla, so if you need to do chat, it's
I still
it
see
can be
him
up
on
to
the
you.
I see him
Thank you,
on
is he
the
Jill.
here?
screen. I see him on the screen, but I'm not sure what's happening there.
I hope you can come back,
No, I
Gorilla.
know, but I get a rhythm for when Gorilla interjects, and he would have interjected by now. I think maybe we lost him at some point.
That's a good point. Lemon Pie says they can't have anyone with the brain pan of a stagecoach tilter getting access to the weapons. Melted Copper. Would the robot girl from Small Wonder be able to kick this robot? Watch with the language if you can. Um, I know you're new here, Melted Copper, but when I show episodes, TV shows from the 60s, like Lost in Space and Gilligan's Island, there may be kids watching. So we try to match our language with whatever show we're covering.
We try to keep
Uh,
it PG, basically.
yeah,
Cover.
that other colorful language, I'll put it that way, is welcome on my Tuesday night horror sci-fi stream and my rumblies from the lab. But for these shows where I cover that are for the whole family, I try to keep it somewhat a little more tame. Ola Greg says Robot Rumble.
Oddly enough,
And
if we were covering Star Trek 4, you could say that.
you could, yes, actually you could, with their colorful metaphors. And Ola Greg sends us, I think those are robots. I'm not sure
They
what
look
those
like
are.
robots to me. Yeah.
Melted Copper says TNG power play. The crew gets taken over. Yeah, I'm sure that happened many times on TNG.
Yeah.
Oh, well, was that the episode he was meaning? That one was kind of a cool.
I
I
like that
didn't like that.
episode.
I didn't like it that much, but it was okay. It was
Well, that
it
was
was a
what
good.
was it? Who got taken over? Was it Troy and
Though my
Riker?
only
And,
problem with that episode is that Data should have been immune to the body snatching, and he wasn't. So that was my only issue with it. It
I
was
haven't
mostly
seen it.
It was mostly a filler episode, actually.
I enjoyed it. I haven't seen it in a long time though, so maybe I would think it would suck if I
I
rewatched
appreciate
it.
your
I don't know.
honesty, Jill, when you say filler episode.
No, yeah, sometimes that happens. They have like 25, 24 episodes per season.
Yes.
I just thought it was nice to see the characters totally out of context and possessed. I mean, I know maybe it was hokey and maybe some of it was unbelievable, but it's kind of was a nice change of pace just to see them out of character. That's what I thought anyway.
Well, Greg says vote
Yeah.
for the Supreme Brain in 24. And Stone Rocket says, Jill, once you have witnessed the Questing Beast
Oh no.
episode, you will fully experience Irwin Allen's brilliance as the producer of Lost in Space.
I am not looking forward to that one.
Really? Okay. I
Oh,
thought he
that's
was meaning that it was going to be a good episode.
no. I think he's being sarcastic, actually, Jill, because that makes the green lady look like Shakespeare.
We will
I
have
do
a
appreciate her enthusiasm for her work on that.
Hey,
though.
you might love it. I don't know. I mean, we'll wait and see, right? We'll get there. We'll get there not too far in the future, I suppose.
Exactly, PvP. You might be insulting my favorite episode.
Oh, that's true. And if I did insult you, I apologize. But
No,
let's wait and see.
No, you probably not.
Yeah,
The
well,
Pie says
you'll see it.
phrenology is the new long discredited pseudoscience of judging a person by shape and size of their head.
Yeah, they used to like count the bumps on somebody's head or some crazy stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's extremely racist for sure.
Oh, it was
That
very
is
weird
awful.
too. Like it just made no sense, right? How can you tell what's going on in somebody's mind by, feeling the top of their head? Like it just makes no sense.
It's very primitive. Yeah, it's very primitive. Ola Greg says, attach the gun alarm to the robot. Yes, there you go. That's a good idea. Melted
That
Copper,
would be
Supreme
good.
Brain,
Yeah.
Supreme Brain 2024, and Vice President Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Melted Copper says Star Trek 6. Yes, absolutely. And Ola Greg says head bump reading is the ultimate science test. Yes, it is, right? Especially if you're blind, I guess you could consider it braille. Ola Greg says 100 years ago, and then laughing and cheers. Oops, don't want to have stream elements. Ola Greg says, heavy storms here in Houston. I will be lurking if possible.
Uh,
Okay, well, good luck writing those out. Is it the same for you, Jill? How are you doing as far as weather?
Yeah, it was raining earlier, but off and on it's raining. But it's not thunderstorms or anything yet.
Good. Hopefully, you guys won't get any power outages because it's too cold to be suffering any kind of cold.
Oh, me too. Cuz I got a show tomorrow. I got to review Day of the Dove.
Yes, you. Oh, that reminds me. And I've got doctor's appointment all day tomorrow. I tried to reschedule them, but I wasn't able to. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry you won't be there.
Yeah, my first one is 11 a.m. my time, so that's right about when you start your
Yeah.
stream. I feel
yeah,
terrible.
This is
yeah.
a big one.
Jill always starts it at 10 a.m. my time, which is exactly the minute I got to start working. So I never get to see those. And I really love Day of the Dove too. And I
So do I.
wish,
Yeah, it's a great
really wish
episode.
I could
Michael
be
and
there.
Sarah.
Yeah,
I know.
really wish I could be there, but I just can't because I got to do
If
my
you
work,
could
right?
if you could record a short review, I can play it at the end
Oh, probably not
if you
tonight
want.
because
No.
I'm probably going to eat supper after this and then go to bed because,
Okay, that's fair enough.
when you got to get up in the morning and work, it's just like, you got to do it.
I'll be. What I'll be doing is in between my appointments. I'll be in the chat. I'll be bouncing in and out of the chat though, but I just can't make it on the panel, unfortunately.
I might just
Bummer.
put something in the chat like before the stream starts, maybe about 9:45 my
Oh,
time.
of course. I always appreciate any type of engagement I can get.
Yeah.
But I don't want to distract too much from the episode because
Well, maybe I'll just post something afterwards in the down below the video once it's done.
for
'Cause I
sure.
do
But
that.
right now, B9 is causing everybody grief.
This is cool.
this is excellent. This is where we get to
I
see
love
him
it,
kick
too.
butt.
I always love it when the B9 starts to use his like laser bolts or lightning bolts or whatever the heck you want to call them, because he's done that in several episodes, and I always love that because it's so cool.
Right. This is where we reveal that he was just putting on an act in front of the Brain Supreme Leader, and he's basically starting to blast everything around to help Dr. Smith and the robot. Dr. Smith and Will escape. This would have been a good time to grab the guns.
He isn't doing that just yet. He's still bullying them at this moment.
Oh, that's right. He does this to scare Dr. Smith into getting to work. That's right.
Well, you know what I
Yeah.
love too is they put Smith and Will to work doing, like, I don't know, screwing something onto a widget or whatever the heck you want to call
Right.
them. And it's just like seems like, well, what are they producing and why? Of course, we never find out. But it's like they promised Smith a banquet. They were going to like feed him all that early in the episode. They were going to feed him sausages and all kinds of great food, steak, and of course Smith.
Country gravy. I was like, well, how do they know what country gravy is? But oh well.
You know, the thing that bothered me about that scene is Smith generally would have like, stuffed himself, right? If he had an opportunity to have all that great food. But he goes, "Oh, I'm not hungry." It's like, what? Are you in a
Well,
Boston?
that was
wait.
because he was finally realizing that he wasn't on Earth.
Right. That's when he was realizing he wasn't on Earth, and he was asking them about riches and what kind of reward he would get.
Well, another thing though, too, if these are totally aliens, which they obviously are, how do they know about like sausages and steaks?
I know they don't mention that or
That did
English.
puzzle me. That puzzled me.
Yeah.
I'm too picky, but
No, you're not being picky. That's the main theme of this show, where aliens and all these species know everything about Earth, even though
Yeah.
Earth don't know anything about them.
I
Right.
mean,
They've been enticed with food before, earthbound food.
yeah, and if they could have read the Robinsons' minds, then it would be believable, right? But there was no mention of them actually doing that, so I was like, oh, okay, here we go. It's Lost in Space. Yep.
So Melted Copper says, I got snow rolling in Illinois. And that's me here. Yeah, where I'm at too. Lots of snow outside.
Hmm.
And Melted Copper says, B9 could be like Jason and his hockey mask, where no person seems to have the credit for it. Possibly. Sorry. Oh, no, it's okay, Melted Copper. Melted Copper says, I'm sorry. I am such a... No, you're fine. I really like the Evil Dead. Well, Melted Copper, I'm a huge fan of Evil Dead. And if you ever get a chance, you'll see that on my Tuesday Horror Sci-Fi stream when I started that last year. I premiered with the Evil Dead trilogy. So if you ever get the time, go back and watch it. I think you'll like it. Similar to this, we do a lot of behind the scenes information and trivia about the movie. Taylor Swift says, "Hope you had a good dinner." LOL. Stone Racket. And Stone Racket says, "Jill, please check your Discord as soon as you can."
Will do.
Jill and Jim, I watched Day of the Dove twice today. Yeah, I don't blame you.
Awesome,
It's a
Jim.
great episode.
Yeah, I love that episode. It's one of season 3's best. I'd have to
It
put it in.
is.
Well, there's maybe 10 episodes of season 3 that are actually pretty great. And I'd have to put it on the list somewhere for sure.
Yeah. Lemon Pie says the delights of bacon are known across the space. See, that's your explanation. Everyone likes bacon.
No, I got bacon in the
DBB
fridge I need to cook. Darn.
DBB says, "Hello, Pops." Hello, DBB. It's so good to see you.
Hello.
Hello, Antiderivative Jill,
DBB.
PvP, Lemon, and Jim.
Hello.
Hello,
And then
DVB.
Yeah, I'm glad to see DBB. And Lemon Pie says, "Hey, DBB." And Jim says, "Hi, Lemon Pie and DBB." And let me mention here, what's up, Pooch? Melted Copper says, "Clearly there is a space Uber eats a guy in like a space Winnebago." Or we know what that is, or we've seen that, like in Spaceballs, delivered to aliens in the future. A driver named Barb might be a tad weird.
There you go. That's the answer.
So this is now we get to the point where the robot attacks the female robot 03 and shoots her, disabling her. And now they attempt to make their mistake or their escape.
Just before this, the giant brain said, B9's, a double agent. We got to do something. We got to disable him. And then, of course,
Yes.
B9 just fries her, which is a good move, of course, to save himself.
Absolutely. And notice how I don't think the robot uses electricity on the automatons. I think it mostly just uses its arm and knocks them, I think is what it does.
Yeah. Yeah, the robot just shoves them.
That was another problem I had with the episode, to be honest. It was like these automaton guys are supposed to be like, scary guards or whatever. And all the robot has to do is give them a little punch in the gut and they fold over like, a deck of cards. It's like, okay, yeah, they're not that tough, actually.
I know. It's like the script director said, "We're running out of time, guys. Can we wrap this up?"
I thought it was hilarious. So the robot was just taking them out right, left, and center.
Well, there was a missing scene where, well, I'm just making this up, where someone left the manual for these androids that told everyone what their weak point was right in their start.
Yeah, they certainly did fold over pretty fast. The only thing they did,
Yeah.
It was weird though. They were throwing those bombs, for a couple of scenes there, and it was like, wow, that's pretty good. And then of course the robot just goes and it just taps them on the gut, and they're totally disabled. So it's like, oh,
Yes,
oh well.
Jill, can you go back to that scene where they're pushing the robot on the one more there? Go back where the robot's blasting that forward. Sorry, I should be more clear. Forward.
You're going to have to wait because it's a video that has all my slides. So
Oh, no hurry.
There's 6 seconds. So
Okay, well, I'm going to read this as you get there. Now, I'm talking about the scene where the robot is blasting that prop that we were talking about that is really cool, that was like the welcoming committee. Okay, here's some notes from the book. A terrible choice during the editing phase of this episode was in deleting 2 lines of dialogue, one from Smith and one from the robot. In the climactic scene, when the robot, Smith, and Will rush from the hangar towards the Jupiter 2, chased by cyborgs, Smith was to yell, "Quick, back to the spaceship." The robot responds, "It will be of no use to return to the spaceship unless the magnetic force is destroyed." The action that followed, which we do see, shows the robot cut loose with a powerful blast towards that prop, the ray gun. They call it a ray gun here in the book. And then we get an insert shot of the ray gun, which reveals it exploding in smoke and flame. So that's one thing. If you guys are wondering how does the Jupiter 2 suddenly take off, is because they actually, when they deleted, They deleted the robot, explaining that that's why he destroyed that big object that was outside the Jupiter 2. If that makes any sense to you guys.
That totally makes sense. Yeah.
So by destroying that is what allowed them to leave. That was what held control over the Jupiter 2, which I'm guessing by now the Jupiter 2 has recharged its batteries since
Hope
they
so.
were drained after the first time. Right, that object right there.
Yeah. How does the robot get disabled here? Like, I don't remember.
There we go. That's the scene where the lines were cut, but the robot says we need to
Yeah.
destroy this device in order to regain control of the ship.
Good old robot saves the day once again. But how does he get disabled here? Like, I did I miss something? Like, I don't remember.
I think
him
he got
getting
blasted
shot.
by another robot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in fact he does. That's right. As they're getting ready to go head up to the Jupiter 2, he gets shot in the back.
Okay, I don't remember seeing that. I must have
And
looked
then,
away for a second or
right.
something.
And then, of course, they cut right before they struggled to get the robot up the steps because they're not going to show that.
Well, that's another thing I have a problem with is how do they get the robot up the steps? Because he can't walk up steps.
I
Like,
know. And they never established like an elevator for the robot or anything. So
you'd hope so.
That
right?
bothered me too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree.
I was like, oh man, here we go.
well, at the beginning of the episode, when they landed and when Professor Robinson instructed the robot to go out and investigate, he told the robot to use a space ladder or something like that. So it was by verbal only. They never actually showed anything.
Yeah, you think there'd be like an elevator or something for the robot, right?
Yep. Concerning all the other hardware they have on that ship.
Yeah. Oh well, this Lost in Space.
So here we are with them blasting off once again. Fortunately, they survived and they made it
But without the guns.
without the guns, and no mention of them as well. I'm sure we'll see them miraculously just appear in future episodes.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe they have like a replicator like Star Trek where they can manufacture guns.
I hope, right? Oops. Let me. Let's see where I left. Okay. Jim says, "Hail, pop culture curator Jill and PvP. Hail, Jim."
Hello, Jim.
Melted Copper, you say attack. There's a robot mating ritual. B9 wouldn't hurt a lady. Well, he did this time. Lemon Pie says yes, but then when you look at your Uber Eats order and the cookie is missing and you got to get the driver to head back to Earth to get it. Melted Copper says...
Or you get a refund on the cookie.
Get a refund on the cookie, right? I mean, honestly, I don't use Uber Eats or any of that DoorDash stuff, but I get a little weary, too, of them getting into the food. But I know the food is supposed to be sealed with like a sticker, some sort of label. So I think if it's been open, you should be able to tell.
I have heard horror stories of people like ordering a pizza and they get the pizza and there's like a couple slices missing because the driver.
Yes. Yeah, they have videos on YouTube.
That's a little overt. If you want to be smart, still fries, not pizza, dummy.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy.
Melted Copper says, this pizza is cold. Don't you have a hyperdrive? And DBB says, maybe the robot has hover shoes. Oh, that's possible.
Oh, I never thought of that. Yeah, maybe
DBB says, right, but remember that we have 1997 technology according to them. DBB says, oh, but that would be headcanon, LOL. Yes, it would.
Yeah, that's
Taylor
true.
Swift,
we are making excuses.
Space Uber Eats, LOL, says Taylor Swift. Melted Copper says, the Robinsons are rude to disabled robots. Where is the ramp for the disabled robot? This family is horrible. Exactly right. Where's the ADA when you need it? Lemon Pie says, DBB, wouldn't it be foot cannon or rim shot?
Oh, this is a cool scene at the end here.
So here's where we have, in retaliation, apparently the robot planet sends out this missile towards the Jupiter 2, which barely... I love the way they show the Jupiter 2 avoiding the robot, the missile. It's hilarious, but I know it's not really high tech, but I love it.
I bought it. It has a homing device too.
Yeah, it was fun.
We actually see it turn around and head back towards them. Yes.
Well, I thought the missile was really cool looking. Actually, I really enjoyed this scene.
Oh, it is, but we've seen the missile before, and we will see it again.
But it's not often we get to see Jupiter 2 do evasive maneuvers.
Well,
correct.
As long as they
Yes, it
don't have it
is.
in every episode, my memory will forget after 10 or 20 episodes, so it's all
Which,
good.
yeah, which is totally acceptable. So now the robot informs them the danger's not over. It turned around and it's headed towards them, and they only have a few seconds to avoid it.
The
And
robot's
so,
doing its Mr. Sulu countdown here.
yes. So we have Professor Robinson says, "See that nearby planet there? Let's head that direction, full speed ahead." With that planet happens to look just like the robot planet, which looks like all the other planets, but that's not important right now.
Amazing.
So, right. So they're heading there, and they're using full thrusters, cannons, whatever the Yeah, I can't remember it all. They've used the engines, different names, and so
Uh,
here we get the missile is closing in on them.
cool.
Evasive action successful, so they're barely able to make it past and avoid the planet just in time. And the missile is now headed for impact on the planet. And we get the scene where it hits the planet, but the explosion, the ball of fire, is so massive that it shoots up and engulfs the Jupiter too. And then we get our cliffhanger for next week's episode. Hey, Gorilla, are you still with us? Are you okay? I wonder if Gorilla
Oh,
may have fell asleep.
Yeah, I
that's
think
what I'm thinking. That's what I thought a while back. That's why I had you pick up the
maybe
chat because
maybe
he's
Gorilla
gone.
Gorilla could be snoring in his chair right now as we speak, so it's probably a good thing. I guess he's muted. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
a little behind the scenes info. He told me before the show started his office chair was dying. He had to
oh
get rid
no,
of it, so he brought from the living room a recliner
oh
and put it in
no.
front of his. And I was like, oh, okay. I said that's got to be comfortable. He said, well, yeah, it is, but he can't recline. But apparently,
Oh
reclining
no.
doesn't matter.
Oh, Gorilla, wake up sometime tomorrow morning, and I'll go. Oh crap.
That's okay.
Well, I've probably been there a few times myself, so it's no big deal.
Let's see. I guess I don't know if I'm lucky or not lucky, but my chair is so uncomfortable. There's no way I'd fall asleep on a stream. So yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that's
me
a
too.
good thing.
Yeah, I got a
You,
crappy office chair that it gets the job done, but it's not the most comfortable thing, that's for sure.
Mine
Oh,
squeaks, and I'm trying to keep that to a minimum.
yeah, he was yawning.
He
He
was
was there
tired.
yawning up, and it's late for him, and he worked all day today, and he's just still getting over that cold.
Yeah, it's like 10
DBB,
o'clock.
yeah, DBB said, "LOL, Lemon, good one." And we don't want stream. Stone Bracket says the amazing missile dodging Jupiter, absolutely. Taylor Swift says lots of space needed Captain Kirk. Yes, it would. I don't know if Captain Kirk would put up with Dr. Smith very long, though. Melted Copper says, and some classic Star Trek miniskirts. Yes, that is true. Melted Copper, poor gorilla, hugs. Yeah, I think he'll be okay. I'll talk to him. He'll be on our stream tomorrow night, guys. Melted Copper, he's the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil monkeys. DBB says, in the jungle, the mighty jungle, Gorilla Random Thoughts sleeps tonight. Yes, I believe he does. And have a good night, Gorilla. I know you can't hear me, but I know you got the headphones on your head, so maybe we'll start saying things that'll subliminally give you nightmares. Melted Copper, oh, whippa wumpa, weepa wump. Okay. And by the way, everybody, as a reminder, I did put a poll in the chat. If you're able to get a chance, please consider voting. Give us your rating or your grade for what you thought of this episode, or what you thought of our handling, our stream of this episode, whichever you so choose. And then I'll be sharing the results of that poll here shortly. But in the meantime, PvP, would you like to tell us what you think about this episode and tell us about your channel?
Oh, I had a hard time with this one because I fluctuated back and forth. I mean, it's not a terrible episode after the Wild Adventure one. It's like, as I say, it's like Shakespeare compared to that. But you guys know I'm not a huge Peter Packer fan, but as far as his scripts go, this wasn't as bad as some of them can be. So I had to give it a little bit of leeway. I was hovering around giving it a C plus for a while, but then I started to think, well, I actually watched it a second time quickly after work today. Put it on like fast forward and just watch through the critical scenes. And the second watch, it actually did improve. Um, I thought Dr. Smith was extremely annoying, which almost made me wanted to give it a lower rating. But then I thought, well, it's Dr. Smith, so actually I can't really fault the episode for that because Smith is Smith and he does what he does, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, and I thought the alien planet, whatever the heck it was, the ghost planet, was pretty well done. A lot of cool props. I like the giant brain. I like the female robot. It was all very well done, so I couldn't fault it for that. Story wise, I think they did stretch it out quite a bit because I mean, it seemed like a story that could have been told in maybe 5 or 10 minutes less than they did. So that kind of was a little bit of a negative for me. Um, yeah, it wasn't bad though. I mean, I was fluctuating around a C plus for a while, but I eventually ended up. Well, also the Jupiter 2 putting its landing gear down. That was a big plus because I always love seeing the Jupiter 2 land anywhere because the landing gear is so cool, especially when they do the full size prop with the actors actually running down the stairs. Like that's really awesome. Uh, so I balanced it out and ended up giving it like a B minus. I thought it was a good episode, but it's not among my top Lost in Space episodes. Definitely.
Cool. I appreciate that. Anything you want to add about your channel?
Not a great deal. I've just been adding some more stuff. I added a few streams recently. Put another album up over the weekend, and I want to mention again if you want to check out my Power Pop, my first Power Pop stream of Power Pop bands. I kept it short, only 25 songs, because I know sometimes people don't want to listen to something all day, which I tend to get carried away at
Okay,
times.
so it's not a stream, but it's a video. Is that correct?
It's a playlist.
Playlist, gotcha.
Playlist, yep.
Yeah, because stream is usually a live stream like we're doing now.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any videos up. So anyway, I guess that's about it, Pop. I'll leave it at that.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
All right, Joe, what say you? What would you say about this episode? And tell us about your channel.
For sure. So, Smith, I like this episode. It wasn't A plus material or anything. I give it a B because Smith suffers from a severe case of something that happens to people in the desert. He sees a mirage. He thinks it's Earth, and so he goes so far into this delusion that Jupiter 2, the crew, almost become slaves to robots. And so and I think this is some fun backstory, some kind of knowledge of some secret robot society that and somehow B9 is a part of, despite being an Earth created robot. I don't understand it, but I like it. Really, the whole idea of the prototype cyber unit is so sudden and bizarre, considering he's from Earth. He's an invention of Earthlings. However, it's fine for me because it fits the Lost in Space ethos of how the entire galaxy knows all about Earth, even though Earth doesn't know about them. And while it's outlandish, it's fun, and I enjoyed it. The prototype, it looked kind of organic to me, so I thought that was kind of cool. And I don't know, like maybe that appearance is what causes his superiority complex. I'm not sure. I had fun with Smith's delusion and the robot planet's tyranny, and of course B9 playing it double agent. That's always fun. It was a lovely episode, and so it's perfect B for me. Fun effects, and I had a good time. And the missing guns is the only reason why I didn't give it an A minus. If they would have tied that one up for me, I might have loved it even more.
Okay, and tell us about your channel.
And so my channel is also my name, Antiderivative Jill. I like to talk about science fiction, and tomorrow we're going to talk about Star Trek: The Original Series, Season 3. Going in order, by production order, we're going to talk about Day of the Dove. So that's going to be pretty wonderful with Scotty R37, and so it's going to be good.
Excellent.
I'm sorry you won't be there though. But
I
then,
know.
okay. But Wednesday it's Scotty's birthday. So we're gonna play some game. We're probably gonna play Dig. Yeah.
Oh, Wednesday night you're going to do some gaming with Scotty?
Yeah, that's his
Oh,
actual birthday. But on
okay.
Fridays when I have my normal review show, so that's also I also let him pick the movie for that. And so he's picked Star Trek Nemesis. And so we'll see.
I did notice your notification for Friday. I should be able to pop on, but oh man, I'm going to have to watch Nemesis again. Oh no. But I'm sure I'll watch it and I'm sure it'll be a great time. And if Scotty loves it that much, I can't say no, so
He
I gotta
doesn't
watch
love
it.
it. That's the weirdest thing. He just really wants to talk about it.
So
Maybe he wants to make fun of it or something.
he picked a movie he wants to dissect in not a generally fun way. Okay.
I don't know. He has ulterior motives. We'll find out.
Well,
Okay.
as much as I enjoy hanging out and discussing things with Scotty, sometimes he does mystify me. I've got to admit, Jill. So that's not
Okay.
a negative thing necessarily, but it just seems like a fact,
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to add, Jill?
Oh no, Milton Copper says it's James Doohan's birthday. No, not that Scotty. Scotty R37 is a YouTuber who
Right.
I
Yes,
tend to
Yeah, it's a
Right.
different
broadcast
Scotty,
with quite a bit.
Right. He's one of our friends. He'll pop in every now and then.
and he still has all his fingers, so that's a different Scotty.
Yes.
So far.
Thank you, Jill. I appreciate that.
Welcome. And thank you.
Oh, it's always my pleasure. And thank you once again for the wonderful job with the slides. It was like excellent.
Yes, slides are always great.
And I'm going to give this episode an A.
Welcome.
I had an excellent time, especially after the
Ooh.
last episode. I
Wow.
like the action. And I always, some of my favorite episodes of Lost in Space have always been where the robot gets front and center attention. And he really does in this episode, which I really like. Yes, I'm going to fault it for it has its mistakes and plot holes with the guns and the food, how they know what American food is and all, or Earth food and all that. But I've, warts and all, I've learned that that's just part of Lost in Space, so it doesn't bug me. So when I give it an A, I'm rating up based on the enjoyment I had watching it. I'll put it that way. I hadn't seen it in a long time, but it was at first for me it was funny. I think Jonathan Harris made me laugh. I liked the way that he was be greedy and excited one moment and dastardly, and the next he's crying and complaining because he's having to put widgets together, and the robot playing double agent and then battling and saving the day. The robot officially saves the whole family and the ship in this episode, which I really liked. We get a lot of the effects that we don't get a lot of usually. We don't get a lot of the robot blasting things with electricity or the lightning bolts, but we got a lot of that in this episode, more than usual, I have to say. So yeah, for various reasons, I loved it, and it was good to see the robots not stuck on pre-planets from the first season. So basically, they're going from episode to episode, but in space. So we're getting completely different standalone stories that are not on that planet, which makes me happy. But I'll keep it short. But yes, that's it. Excuse me. Tomorrow night, my horror sci-fi stream, I am covering the immensely wonderful 1960 movie, The Time Machine, starring Rod Taylor, Yvette Mimieux, however that's pronounced.
Mimieux, I think it might
Mimieux. Written by H.G. Wells. The book was always one of my favorites. I read that too. And Wednesday, Gorilla's Random Thoughts, if he's awake with us, we will be returning to Gilligan's Island with 2 more episodes of that. If I remember right, I think we're getting close to, I think we have 2 episodes left in the 2nd season. And then after that, I'm going to be doing some mini biographies of some of the actors and some trivia behind the scenes of that show as well. And I'll be back Saturday, if everything works well, with another Rumblings from the Lab. I'm having a good time with those, and they seem to be going fairly well. I appreciate that for anybody who can come and join us for any of these streams. But thank you for giving me the time to speak for that. Well, now, without further ado, I am going to pull up our our poll from the chat and share the results so that we can all see. And for those of you that voted, thank you so much. I appreciate you engaging with our channel. And if you haven't done so yet, maybe consider hitting the like button or maybe subscribing if you haven't done that. We have a lot more to come in the future. So we'll be covering a lot of shows. And by the way, Gorilla Random Thoughts and I, we're getting close to like I said, the end of the second season. There's only one season left of Gilligan's Island, season 3. We cover 2 episodes every week. So in short order, we will be completing Gilligan's Island within a matter of a few months. I'm going to be following that up with the Night Gallery. So if anybody's interested, that's what's going to be next after Gilligan's Island. We're going to be doing a Night Gallery stream on Wednesday nights.
Well, that'll be great. Wow. Yeah, I love Night
I want to
Gallery.
expose that. A lot of people are not aware of it, so now's the time to learn.
Well,
It,
Twilight Zone gets all the attention, right, Pop? But Night
it
Gallery is an
does.
awesome show too.
Right. And so it's another, I would say, absolute jewel from Rod Serling. So if you like Twilight Zone, you're going to love Night Gallery. It's like Twilight Zone, but with more of a horror focus.
More horror. Yep.
And yes. So here we are with the results of our poll. And looks like we had 14 votes. Thank you, everybody, for voting. What grade would you give the Ghost Planet? And it looks like 57% gave it an A plus to an A minus. Oh, spectacular. 28% gave it a B plus to a B minus. And it looks like we, rounding it out, we have a tie. We got 7% for C plus to C minus and 7% for D plus to F minus. I know F minus is just a joke, but I like to throw it in there. But thank you guys for voting. I appreciate that. And real quickly, I'm going to wrap up the chats here because I love everybody in the chat. DBB, yeah, let's give Gorilla nightmares, right? Poor
We
Gorilla. He's still
probably
there
are.
somewhere. I know, Gorilla, there you are. Wake up, Gorilla.
Yeah, wake up,
And
Gorilla. We need your review.
we need you. We to review. You never get. Yeah, we your default F. Stone Racket says I gave the Ghost Planet a C. Oh, excellent. Thank you, Stone Racket.
Yes, that's fair.
Yes, absolutely. DVB says, so are you watching Lost in Space on disc or are you streaming it? I don't have, I have it on a server. And sometimes there's some websites out there that if you're not able to watch Lost in Space, we have links we could share with you that we could send you that you can watch it for free on certain websites without commercials even, which is even better. DVB says pops. Yes. So I am PC Curator altogether on Twitter. You guys, if you're not if we're not, I don't know what they call it on Twitter for friends or whatever, or you can put in the chat if you need a link to be able to watch Lost in Space. We can always supply that. I want everyone to be able to experience it. And DBB says, just curious. Well, it's an excellent question. So yes, thank you for asking. Jim says, Gorilla took a sonic shower and felt so good and relaxing. Maybe that's why he fell asleep. Yes, very possible. Lemon Pie says, I bored Gorilla into sleep with that chat about phenology. You know what we need to do? Gorilla was also saying that it's nice and quiet around his house tonight because the kids aren't there. So maybe I need to tell him to start keeping the kids around more often when we have streams. DVV says, like I have Netflix, but they only have the movie remake. Ugh, that's terrible. Sorry to hear that. Melted Copper says he might have spontaneously adopted a lady and climb up a building. Huge gorilla love doing that. Climb up a building. And DVB says gorillas have giant skulls, says DVB at Lemon. Melted Copper says, I was blaming you, Lemon, using the old as this small, like, chloroform trick of picking people up. And DBB says, Antiderivative Jill, you are awesome.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah. And DBB says, thank you for dropping that link there, DBB. Sub to Antiderivative Jill. There's a link to her channel, everybody. And yes, I highly check it out. She has I know to try to remain modest. She has one of the best streams on the internet where she covers TOS with a lot of behind the scenes information. If you like Star Trek, that's where you want to be. Stone Racket says, Antiderivative Jill is the best. Yes, she is. Oh,
Well, it's just so well rounded because I read the book and you have so much technical knowledge on how to create film that it's so fun to listen to what you have to say.
Well, it's nice, right? Because there are so many streams out there where they watch TOS and they give their opinion. Yeah, we liked it, we didn't like it, we like it, we didn't like it. But you don't get very much info on behind the scenes or trivia of how it was put together, which I think puts ours way above the best of the rest. Melted Copper, it's James Duhan's birth. No, it's not. It's Scotty's birthday, yes. Lemon Pie, DVB. Oh, I know he's smart, but it was right after that he disappeared. Oh, yes. DVB, Scotty's probably my favorite YouTuber. That is not an actual YouTuber. And Lemon Pie says, Melted Copper. That sounds more like Scotty. Yes, it does. Melted Copper says, ladies might like that. Ladies might like that Scotty more. Very possible. DVB says, also, Scotty always has those chocolate covered pretzels. Damn, they're exquisite. Ola Greg says, vote Giant Spider in 24. Melted Copper says, the best chocolate covered pretzels are in the movie Mallrats. Yum. DVB says, take care, Pops. Thank you, DVB. Likewise, stay warm out there. I appreciate you coming and visiting with us. Melted Copper says, are you doing the special when they return? When they return, are you doing the special? Help elaborate on that, Melted Copper. Are you doing the special when they return? Are you talking about Gilligan's Island or?
Yeah,
DVB says, what's that?
yeah. He's gonna wonder what, like, well, like, when you're gonna do,
By the way, welcome back, Gorilla.
Yeah, Gorilla. Do you want to give us your rating before you go to sleep? Uh-oh.
no, but I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, shit.
Oh, the special. Okay, are you talking about the return to Gilligan's Island?
No,
Oh, I bet you were trying to figure out what Melted Copper had to say about specials.
no.
Yeah, I don't know what Copper was talking about, actually.
When are you going to watch Godzilla -1, Pops? Got to hear your thoughts on that flick. I know I'm excited. I love Godzilla, and I hear that movie's wonderful, but I'm over 30 miles away from the nearest movie theater, unfortunately. My car is currently not running, so I'm not going to watch it tomorrow, but I will as soon as I can. Unfortunately, the only time I get out of this damn house is for doctor's appointments, and that is no fun.
I might have to watch it online because the only theater showing it here is like 10 miles away. I got to drive across the bridge. I got to go down the main highway, which is scary with my old car at night in the dark, which I don't like driving at night. And I just don't know if I'm not comfortable with my car on the highway anymore because it's getting to that age where it's fine in city limits, but I don't like going out on the highway. And I have had some issues with it overheating and stuff the last few months. It seems to be fine lately, but I just don't know if I want to risk, my safety just to go see a movie. So
Gotcha.
I might have to watch it online, unfortunately.
Ola Greg says, Night Gallery, the devil is not mocked. Lemon Pie says, Gorilla -1. Ola Greg says, light that Gorilla spotlight. Light the Gorilla spotlight. DBB says, oh, that's cool, man, Pops. And DBB says, I'll get back on Twitter soon. Well, then let me make sure I send this link here before we end this stream. All right. Bear with me just a moment, guys. I'm going to do this as a favor. I'm going to put this link here. I'm going to send it. This is the public link. Go to this website, DBB, and in the search box, put in Lost in Space, and you will be able to find the original series. That's the website sometimes I'll use to watch it. And Antiderivative Jill says, Pop Culture Curator on Twitter. Thank you for dropping that, Jill. I appreciate it. There's a link to my channel. To Twitter. There's my Twitter link. And Stream Elements, I don't need to talk to a bot. Stone Racket says, DBB, I watch Lost in Space on Blu-ray. Yeah, the Blu-ray is amazing. DBB says, oh, cool, Stone Racket. And Lemon Pie says, if we keep chatting, Pop cannot in the stream. Just kidding. Yeah, I know. Well, it's not the point of ending the stream. It's I know some people need to get to bed and some people have families. Melted Copper says, yeah, Gilligan returns. And there's a different lady at the movies. Yes, Melted Copper. I will cover the Gilligan's Island movies before we hop into Night Gallery. Yes, I absolutely will. Believe me, you couldn't stop me. Lemon Pie says, Gorilla is resurrected, at least temporarily. Ola Greg says, zombie gorilla. DBB says, cool, looking forward to your review, Pops. Thank you, DBB. And I will try to see it as soon as I can. Melted Copper says, now the stream can't end. Gorilla has a full battery. Good morning, Gorilla. I don't know. I think he might be back under.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, well, I'm gonna. Did you have anything to add, Gorilla, before I end the stream?
No, no.
I hope you liked the episode, Gorilla.
It was a C minus.
Okay, C minus. Okay.
That's your full review. I guess you don't have one. It's okay.
Well, it's just one of those. I felt like the episode was misnamed. It's just like the role. It seems like we see too many of these episodes where you got the evil robots and all that stuff there, and I wasn't there, and yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that testimonial, Gorilla. I appreciate it. And DBB says, got the link. Thanks, Pops. Yes, that link, everybody, is for all of you guys. If you're not able to watch these movies or TV shows that we cover, that website has a lot of them. If it doesn't, let us know. Gorilla is a genius. He knows many, many websites that can pretty much have pretty much almost anything you're looking for. So even if Soap Today doesn't, he'll know one that does. Ola Greg says, good night, all. DBB says, good night, Ola Greg. Yeah, this is great. Great turnout. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, good
Stone
night,
Bracket
guys.
says, thanks for the stream, Pop Culture Curator. Good night, everybody. Likewise. Mildecover says, good night, everyone. Any other live chat rumbles after this? Well, I don't know if there's any streams tonight, but my next stream, like I said, tomorrow will be the Time Machine from 1960, and then my rumble will be on Saturday. And Jill, you're welcome tomorrow night. I don't know if you've seen the Time Machine, but I know you're busy on Tuesdays.
I am, but we'll see.
Have you seen the Time Machine?
Yeah, I have. I watched it after I watched the remake.
Oh, that's an interesting point of view. I have to say this. The remake was directed by H.G. Wells' grandson.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And DBB says, good night, Stone Rocket. Melted Copper. Lemon Pie says, good night, all. Melted Copper says, anything I am looking for. I haven't dated a midget or conjoined twins yet. Well, that would be fun. DBB says, take care, Lemon. Yes. Everybody, stay warm out there. If you have to work tomorrow, drive safe, but make sure you get plenty of sleep. I don't want to hear about anyone getting in an accident or anything on my behalf because I was going over too long. But I really, like I've said before, I really appreciate everybody being here, and I had a blast. And hopefully, I'll see most of you guys tomorrow night.
Yeah, I might be
awesome.
an hour late, but I'm going to try because I love the Time Machine. That's one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. It's all time.
All
But
right,
it's such a good movie.
it is. It's amazing, and if anybody out there listening who have not seen it, please try to make it. I think make it and be there.